Welcome everybody to Lonestar eSTOL. This is the grand finale, the end of the season. Everybody is going to be fighting for the points, and we're going to see who's going to take home the gold in all the different classes. So today we have a very special guest. As some of you may know her from YouTube, Avangel's with us today. Hi Avangel, how are you today?
Doing fantastic, thank you, Stix. Great to be here. Really excited for the racing today in the competition. Can't wait to see what these guys get up to.
And we have Cam with us as well. Cam, as usual, how you
Yo,
doing, buddy?
what's going on, everyone? How are you doing, Bursty?
Doing great, doing great.
Yeah.
So how's everybody doing out there at home? You guys ready for the season finale? I'm ready to go. I want to see some action today, some unlimited planes. I want to see some the Wilgas as always. You know, you got Smitty geared up in his flight simulator. He's going to be kicking a lot of butt in that thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that again from last competition as well.
Yeah, I think Smitty coming back from, he had a couple where he didn't come to a couple of the events. He was busy, family things or whatever. But I think, last week he came back, or 2 weeks ago he came back, and I think today he's going to kick a lot of butt and take a lot of names.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see that. Excited to also see him get jostled around just a little bit.
Yeah, I know. You can hear it too. I don't know if we have like voice. I don't know if we have like audio comms from him or not, but I know we got the video comms, and that's a pretty cool unit where you can see his flight simulator, and then you can see his view from VR. I mean, he's got the full deal. He's even got wind tunnels. When you see his rig, you'll see these little things on the side, and from what I know, those are wind tunnels that kind of blow wind at his face while he's flying. So he's got the real deal. He might as well be flying.
Oh, that's super awesome. I was wondering what those were the other day, like if he was getting, or the other competition, if he was getting air, and if it's hot in his room or what's going on. But that's really cool.
Yeah, he's got to have air. That's one thing I wouldn't forget.
Sounds like the winds are out of the 200 at 22.
So it looks,
which is, I mean, it's a little windy, just a little bit. Looks like
gonna be straight down the runway, or yeah, okay, straight down the runway.
Straight down the runway.
So, Avangel, let's talk a little bit about your background in aviation. How did you get into aviation in like the YouTube content creation? Because I know when I first started in the flight sim, you were the go-to, and you still are, as far as I know. When there's a plane that I didn't have time to get, I'm going to Avangel on YouTube to find out what it's all about.
It's a little random. I've worked in YouTube for about years now, doing gaming content, and when 2020 launched, I thought, you know what? I've been a simmer for decades. I've been around aviation my entire life. I love it, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to give this a crack because I know how to make a YouTube video, and I always dreamed that. Well, no, sorry, this is a little bit complicated, but back when I started out, when I was simming, I was a poor student. I had no money, right? And I wanted to buy something, but I'd look for reviews. There'd be the occasional article somewhere. There was nothing much. Barely anything. So when 2020 came around, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to start making things for people. Short, sharp, to the point. Is this worth it? Give them the rundown. And really just make it nice and short and punchy. 2-hour review. Just something easy for people to digest. And it's blown up into something I never thought it would be. So I'm really happy to contribute in my own way.
And that's what I really fell in love with your content for on YouTube, was the fact that I didn't have to sit there forever in the 15-20 minutes that I am sitting there. It's you're cracking jokes, you're also serious. You're talking about the plane, and at the end of it, it's always hey, this is what I think of it. I think it's worth it or it's not. You know what I mean? You get a clear answer out of it. So I like it.
Yeah, so don't forget to check.
Oh, go ahead, Av.
Oh, I was just gonna say no. It's been really fun to be able to provide that, but also just to kind of bring more bush flying to the kind of YouTube community because we've got so many airline channels out there, so many GA types, military stuff, but there's barely any of the bush flying, barely any stole, and it needs to be seen more. It is the most fun flying you can have with actual wings attached to you. There's only one other way to
Yes.
fly, and that doesn't end very well. So, but it's the best kind of flying there is, and people need to enjoy it more.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and that's how I ended up, being a part of this. Is the same feeling. It's like there was nobody really bush flying on Twitch. Different platforms. You're on YouTube, and don't forget to check AvAngel out on YouTube though. Just search AvAngel on YouTube, or it's probably just youtube.com/@AvAngel.
It's the one.
All right. Yeah, so don't forget to check her out if you guys you'll love her content. But yeah, that's kind of why I got into bush flying too, because everybody was doing airliners, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I might not have been able to comprehend airliners at the time. It's basically just the fact that bush flying is so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did learn a little bit about airliners after a minute. It took me a bit, but I learned. So it looks like we have the touring class up, and we're going to let Cam take that away. Cam, can you talk to us about the touring class and who's going to be in the touring class flying against each other today for the points for the big kahuna, the end of the line Lonestar STOL?
For the big kahunas, we've got number 123, Mark Hawkins, in the PZL Wilga 8P out of Plymouth, UK. We've got 97, Tom Smith, with the Wilga ADP 2023 Wilga ADP out of Pennsylvania. Brown Dog, number 947 or 942, I can't read, in the Wilga ADP out of Southeast Kentucky. Frozen Alaska, number 92 in the 69 Wilga ADP out of Alaska. Fish Foo, number 24 in a 2024 Wilga ADP out of Colorado, and Jesse Dobbins round out the class, number 79 in a 2008 Mall M7 out of Washington.
Interesting choice, the Mall M7. I wonder if, I made a little package for that Mall M7 to kind of make it a little more realistic than it was when it released from the developer. And I don't know if it's legal. If it's legal from the judges, then someone can use it. But if it doesn't have that package, I'm afraid that Mall's not going to do too good.
Oh man,
that's just my guess, though. So we're gonna find Baracus here. He's gonna be introing the touring class today. So you'll get to see his beautiful livery here that he made himself, again, with the Ferrari symbol on it.
There's, of course, known for going very fast, not stopping very short, so let's hope it doesn't work that way for him.
Yeah, that's the irony in it, I guess, for Baracus. That's what he loves. Where is Ferrari's Italian, right?
They are indeed.
Yeah, so Baracus, maybe he wanted to be Italian.
Maybe he did, yeah. Monza, Italy.
And we have number 97, Smitty. Smitty's the man of the hour. He's the one in the full VR, the full flight sim motion simulator. And you'll get to see a little view of that right here. Tom Smith built it himself. He said when he built this, he said he asked his wife, what they should do, and and talked to her about it, and he said, well, it's either that or a motorcycle. So I imagine that, motorcycle around $15,000. Probably that flight sim setup, probably around $15,000. That's a lot of, and he built it himself. So, but fortunately, everybody doesn't have to build it themselves, because we have DOF Reality, huge sponsor of National eSTOL. DOFreality.com. You can get yourself a very nice simulator, full motion rig. And I think prices started around $2,000, so go to the website and check it out.
I'm gonna say Motion Rig's incredible to use. I got the chance to use one time, only briefly, as a dogfighting sim, but it was incredible just to feel it brings that missing piece between the simulation and real life, that back of the seat feeling.
Yeah, I think that would be probably the best place to do it. Is definitely like a dogfighting sim. I mean, those were the days, that's like soon to be gone. Dogfighting is pretty much almost obsolete, nowadays, and so it'll be all drones, etc. According to Elon Musk, he was talking about it, and it's not too far off to think that it may be, close enough to the future here that we're going to be seeing drones. But dogfighting back in World War II days, now that's the kind of simulator I want to be in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Give me a FW-190 and let's go.
Yeah, it's my hands down my favorite plane. It's on my back. It's on my background screen of my computer right now.
Oh, nice. I think
Of
my
course,
favorite World War II bird is the Zero, honestly, but the F-Dub is pretty cool too.
I never noticed. So when I started doing the flight sim streaming, a lot of people would come into the stream and be like, "Can you fly the Zero?" And people would ask about the Zero, and I'd be like, "Well, I don't have one for the flight simulator. There's not a really great one, and so I don't have it." Angel, you probably have it, don't you? Did you ever get that Zero?
I have one. Yes, it was. I bought the Zero for the scenery. Let's just put it that way. The package included a Zero and scenery for $10, and
Okay.
I'm pretty positive I bought it for the scenery.
Yeah.
It wasn't fantastic. Let's put it that way.
I've watched a review on YouTube from someone named. Oh yeah, it was your review. I think you made a review on that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
So maybe I didn't buy it because of that, but it saved me some money, right? So, but anyway,
Yeah.
people always ask about the Zero, and it's like it wasn't even that great of a plane, but at the time,
Yeah.
what they had to fight against was the F4F, and that couldn't climb very well, and so the Zero beat it in a lot of dogfights. But yeah, but
The
definitely the
F6
Zero
definitely
was.
not. The F6 dominated it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
Now that was a heck of
absolutely.
a plane.
I'm gonna be a stereotype and say the Spitfire. I hate to be that person, but I have to. My favorite World War II aircraft. The fighters, of the fighters only, Supermarine Spitfire. Oh, the
Okay.
Hurricane.
I
was
love-
second.
Hawker Hurricane won the Battle of Britain, though.
Yeah. It did,
Yeah, it
yes.
did.
Although the Hurricanes went after the bombers and the Spitfires went after the fighters. The Hurricanes just couldn't compete with the 109s.
Yeah.
We got
Fish Foo on the line.
Fish Foo on the line with the PZL Wilga. Wonderful, beautiful plane. Made by Got Friends for the flight simulator. Get it at got-friends.com. Pick it up. So, but yeah, I would say I saw a documentary about the Spitfire, and I fell in love with the Spitfire because of the documentary. It was interesting. It covered the women that flew the Spitfire. I forgot the names of they had a crew name or whatever, but they flew them from the factories to the fields and back and forth. So I'm pretty sure that was in the Spitfire documentary with I just can't remember the names of what their crew
Well, it was the
was,
Women's
but
Auxiliary Air
anyway.
Force.
Yes, women's auxiliary. Yes, that's yep.
Mhm.
And so that was really cool. And then just the whole story about it, like the guy that come up with the model, and he never really even got to see, the Spitfire in all its glory because he passed away unfortunately of cancer before he had a chance to see, the Spitfire basically help win the war in a massive way. Ooh, we got a mall
Yes, that he
pulling
did.
up.
Ooh.
Beautiful mall.
Yeah,
Jesse
Jesse
Dobbins
Dobbins.
in the mall M7.
Yeah, it's a nice
I don't know
livery. I
which
mean, it's
model that is.
straight black, but what's that?
So I'm trying to work out which model that is. I'm not sure if it's the PMS Sim one or the TD Mall we got. There's two of them available. I'm not sure which one that is.
It is
Gotcha.
the pilot experience sim one.
Pilot Experience, yeah, the PM Sim one. That's the one. Yeah, that could be quite if he hasn't got the mod on there you mentioned, that will be very pitch sensitive for him because it's overly sensitive in the axis. I don't like that about it. Also, what will really hinder him in terms of landing short is, especially with those big tires, he's lacking the lower doors, the lower door windows, which on the malls makes a big difference to be able to actually see where you're putting the wheels down.
Yeah, definitely. I never even considered that, but that's where some of these little things that people do to their bush planes, in the real world, it's nice because we're seeing that even in the sim world. You have developers that are creating, Parallel 42 with Kit Fox without the doors. That's why, just as you explained, that's why the Kit Fox doesn't have the doors. And so it's nice to see developers create that kind of stuff for us to be able to use. Because even when you're in the sim, just like in real life, when those doors are missing, it's way easier to see where you're landing. Yeah, I think the Mall M7 to me always reminds me of like a Chevelle or some type of like that era Chevy sports car. That's what I always think about when I see it.
It sounds like we've got the green flag. Wind conditions, weather conditions are still the same. That is out of the 200 at 22, or as we're seeing, it's saying 18 gusting 23 knots out of the 200. It's still right down the runway. It's going to give everyone a good advantage.
So, Angel, what do you know about wind in bush planes? What do you think kind of day we're going to have today with seeing this 22-mile-an-hour wind?
Oh, with some of the speeds these guys can land at, I think we're going to see some really, really, really short runs because it's high, but we are dealing with a little bit of gusts, aren't we, from what I saw as he's getting ready to go here. But yeah, should be really, really short runs today in terms of landing and takeoff. It's going to really help cut some of those in half with how quickly these planes get off the ground. But the gusts will be one to watch. That could be critical. That could really score some people short.
Yeah, that's going to play a massive role in the, in what we see from the usual suspects who are landing short. They could miss out on the gust and, maybe not take home the gold today. So we'll see a lot of up and down here, and I'm excited about it. Gorgeous takeoff from Marcus, and we are underway for the final event of 2024. But don't worry, guys, we'll be back next year for the 2025 season. So as we round this out, we would like to say thanks to everybody for watching all season long. And we have our last event today. We'll be here for 2 more hours full of eSTOL events. So make sure to stick around. And if you're in the chat, say hello, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on the YouTube.
All right, Tom on the takeoff roll. I couldn't see what that number was, but it looks like it was 131 on his takeoff. Barricus was 69 feet on his takeoff. Got some pretty wild numbers already starting off right now.
And a lot of the guys will... A lot of the guys will take it kind of easy their first couple runs, get some scores on the board, and then, go for the gold in the last one. Unless you're Kat, you'll see Kat later, but Kat, she goes for the gold every time, and if she doesn't get it, oh well. She's all or nothing.
Gotta love those ringers.
I think it's going to depend what you're really looking for in the plane because, especially with the wind this first time or two, I think it's going to be really kind of fishing in terms of what the aircraft will do to you. So we've seen some of these takeoff runs where we've seen some incredibly short takeoffs keeping the tail down in these Wilgers, and also some very short takeoffs with it getting up. So in fact, we saw a stumble with the gusts when and on the first plane that took off, getting his tail in the air. So that could be a difference here.
Yeah, I'm noticing a little wing rocking too on takeoff from a couple of the planes. So the gusts are really going to play a role today, and I don't know if the gusts are coming in, a different direction than the main wind factor, but I would imagine, yeah, gusts can do that.
Well, it was saying that it was out of the 200 and our runway is 19. So, I mean, a difference of 1 degree shouldn't make too much of a difference, but I mean, it's going to make some difference, especially with the wing catching air, whichever wing is rolling.
So
here's the Chevelle station wagon. It should be interesting.
Yeah, that's the family ride. Interesting to see what this is going to do here. That's a nice.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
It's a nice takeoff.
National Lampoon was on board that one. Wow.
Yeah, I hate to sound cliche because I say this probably every broadcast, but doesn't that look realistic? I mean, I'm watching the broadcast, sitting here watching it, and that just looks realistic. It looks like real life. You can't. I mean, the way the sun's shining down on that black Mall M7, it's just in the Wilgo before that. I was kind of dumbfounded. I'm thinking, wow, it looks like you're really there in Texas.
First arrivals coming in.
Barricus out of the UK. We'll see what kind of short landing he can get.
A little ballooning there. He's going to figure out this power setting, plop it in.
Ooh, boing.
As he plops it in.
Didn't give
Yep.
up too much and got stopped right away. Great job to Barricus on
Yeah,
his
it looks like
first
it was
run.
shorter than 100 feet. 82 feet on that for Barricus.
Tom Smith coming in with a bit of a tilt, aka a slip, trying to get that body to lose some speed. Very nice landing.
That Simbring
Yeah.
bouncing around for him. Wow.
Wow, the onboard cam with Tom, that's one of my favorite things about the eSTOL events, man. Knowing that Tom is bouncing around the entire time.
You can see how high his alpha is, like, just from him taxiing, just because of the way that the Wilga sits. Like, that is so sick.
Yeah, definitely sitting in his chair, you know, he's tilted back like that. It's very cool. Ooh, that might have been the least amount of space given up so far.
Least amount of space given up, slowest approach. I mean, shortest, it's got to be the shortest stop.
Yeah.
And it is 73 feet.
Not bad at all.
73.
Angel, have you seen any Wilgas over there in the UK? Since a lot of them would be on that side of the pond.
I have seen a couple, yeah. Quite a few of them actually tow gliders. Very popular for that kind of thing. They're not doing much bush work, but they do a lot of GA work and glider towing, so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, the good little workhorses, the Polish Vilgas. Throws in Alaska. Good one in there, but not shorter than 73.
Yeah, it looks like he gave up less, but couldn't get it stopped. Yeah, we have a scratch on the field.
That's
First scratch from Fish Food.
He is Fish Food now, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
At least in this round.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll still have a couple more chances, but this round he is Fish Food.
There's national
cat food.
Ooh. Is that a scratch?
Oh. I don't know.
I think his wheels did touch down. Sometimes it can be a little bit glitchy. The sim can be a little bit. Sometimes it's due to the plane. Sometimes it's due to the elevation data that the person has in their system. But sometimes it can look like they touched down. But the judges will be able to tell us. So we'll give you an answer on whether or not that last run from the mall was a scratch here in just a minute. As you can see, Lexi's on the line getting ready to judge if it was a scratch. So she'll relay that information over to our judges.
It's he's definitely showing that mall is having some issues in terms of its pitch though and its behavior along the slow and low flight, which the default flight model on that one absolutely has a problem with, so it might not be the one with your package.
Lunar Howl TTV says, "Let's go, Jesse and Brown Dog." Love to hear from the chat, guys. If you want to hear, if you want to comment in the chat, and maybe we'll get your comment right on the screen, then feel free to comment and cheer on your favorite people. Steffi TH says, "Love to see the Mall M7, so refreshing."
And Mark's on the roll. It's like a 78-foot takeoff from him.
You know, I'd like to learn more about the Wilga radial, because you know it's like one of the. It sounds different to me anyway than most other radials I've heard. You know, a lot of the radials I've heard are warbirds. Obviously, Wilga's not technically a warbird, so you know, it's not going to sound as beefy, I would imagine. It doesn't need that kind of engine, but I'll tell you what, it sounds unique, and it's the only one I've ever heard that sounds like that. I'd like to know more about the radial and how many cylinders it has and all that kind of stuff. If anybody in chat knows that answer, or maybe Cam
I got it for
or
you.
Av Angel.
I already know.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. I'll let you take it, Av Angel.
No, you go ahead, Cam.
Well, I mean, you back me up. So so you probably heard that engine before in real life. as it's the same engine that's in, or it's a similar engine that's in your Yak 52s. It's a modified M14, correct?
Red Baron
Yeah, it's
Modeling
the
says the
AI
Wilga
14
is a warbird,
Yevchenko.
sort of.
Okay, okay. So
Soviet and
it's gonna be
Yevchenko,
yep.
yeah.
Okay, so it's the AI 14, not the M14.
Yeah, that's the one. I
Okay,
think it may be
gotcha,
licensed built to the models. I know it's built by Avia as well, and the license
Okay.
is an M46 too. But yeah, little radial engine there, 9 cylinders on that beast, and she's putting out in oh god, what was it? It was the region of about 250, 260 horsepower it can do.
Okay, okay. So that's a little detuned from your normal like M14s that you'll find in like uh, Pitts Model 12 or like a Yak 52. They're going to be rated between 300 to 450 horses.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool though. Still should be still should have the classic air start, and it should rotate opposite from what you're normally used to.
Yeah, it's pretty
they're,
cool. The Got Friends version actually has the air start simulated in it. It's got the it's the whole thing is simulated. Very nice.
Those folks literally have scuba tanks like in their airplanes.
Yeah. Also supercharged as well, just in case you were curious.
That's great information.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things
station
about
wagon.
that's one of the things about your videos too is I forgot you always put in there the like engine details and other little details about the plane. That's one of the chef's kisses of Avangel videos.
I think it's just useful to know a little bit of history, a little bit of background, a little bit of information. It goes a long way to kind of saying, well, this can do this is capable of that, and let's see if it's going to live up to it.
Wow, look at that view coming over the lake. Beautiful view.
God, it's gorgeous.
Smitty.
I can attest that that looked very, very similar to real life. I got to fly with one of our in real life competitors in his Rans, and it was amazing. I got to fly with Patrick McIntyre in his Rans S7, and yeah, the field looks awesome.
Ooh, I don't think he gave up an inch there. That was close.
Really good landing. It's going to be our shortest today.
Now you see everybody coming in and they're all kind of doing the same form. They're all kind of slipping into the wind a little bit. What they're doing here, guys, is for those of you that don't know, they're using the body as a windbreak and basically getting the plane to slow down more than it would normally slow down if they were coming in straight. So they're, angling it into the wind and
landing there. So I just got a number on the landing there. 55 feet there from Hawkins. So our best landing yet.
Best landing of the day, says Avangel. You said 55 feet?
55 feet, yeah. It's about 20-ish underneath our last previous best of 73.
It's gonna put him in the first place for right now. Ooh.
Another advantage, of course, these guys
flopping
slipping
in
in
here.
isn't just the fact that of course it's an air brake. It's also visibility. You can see a lot more, and you can place the aircraft a lot more precisely when you've got that kind of slip angle going on.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot lower
that's
energy in
nice.
the aircraft here, which is
I
important.
never thought of that.
Yeah. One of the most important things to landing on a precise point versus, just bringing the plane in normally. GA pilots, you're taught to fly it in straight. You fly in at a certain speed, at a certain angle. You follow the pappies. It's all nice and easy. It's a very high energy way of landing. This kind of flying requires you to fly low energy, which means you need to burn it off. Now, it's either doing a high alpha, a slipping, but you're trying to basically not carry speed energy down with the aircraft, so that when you touch down, you haven't got a lot of excess lift, a lot of excess speed. You can just dump all that out of the way in no time at all, and this allows that.
Red Baron modeling saying, it looks more like a crab than a slip to me. It depends on what's going on, honestly. I mean, like a crab, crabbing into the wind, and still keeping that straight trajectory towards the runway. With the slip, you're going to have cross controls. You're going to have left aileron, right rudder, and it's going to be a little bit. It's going to look a little harrowing on the ground, right? Because the plane's cocked sideways, nose is up, like it's dropping down real hard. But either way, I mean, all these pilots are doing a fantastic job, especially in the mall with Jesse. I mean, I think we were all expecting longer numbers, and we're seeing some really competitive numbers from Jesse.
Yeah, I think
60 feet on that last landing. So, I mean, like, it's well in the mix.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't expecting it to be that competitive, but I like it. And yeah, I mean, every week or every competition anyway. I mean, I think last week we had last competition we had a couple guys that were separated by a couple feet. You know, I think there was 3 people that were separated by only 3 feet. So I mean, the end of that unlimited class was really a nail biter. Interesting takeoff from Mark. We haven't seen a lot of that tail wheel lifting style of takeoff. The nose down, tail up. Typically, they don't take off like that in the Wilga because of the leading edge slats. But I think maybe with the wind factor today, he knows something we don't know.
I think that depends. I think some people, maybe they do, entirely possible, but a lot of people get into that habit sometimes of the tail up start. Like you say, sometimes at the Vilga, they do benefit from going tail down.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think that I think the angle of attack already on the ground is an advantage. And just having that 3-point stance and doing a short field takeoff essentially in a tailwheel aircraft is exactly what the Wilga was designed to do. So
Precisely.
I agree with you. I mean,
look at that. See, boom.
Brown Dog must have been listening to the broadcast. No, he's one of the top dogs.
Yeah. It's like the B-17 that's also designed to take off in that same configuration. Its wing angle of attack was set literally for takeoff, so you just go straight off. And you take off 3-point like the Vilga does as well, so your Cubs obviously will benefit from getting tail up there because of their general kind of build, but this is made for this job and nothing else.
I love that knowledge. And the B-17, is that, now you mentioned earlier the Spitfire was your favorite single-seat fighter aircraft, but what about bomber? What's your favorite bomber? Is it maybe the B-17?
No.
I know the answer.
Mosquito.
No, you don't know the answer. No, I will say the B-17, hot take, worst bomber of World War II. But no, my favorite bomber of World War II is the A-26 Invader.
Oh wow! Yeah. You did say I didn't know, and I did know.
Didn't expect that, did you?
Go
No.
after.
No.
Okay.
No, the Invader. They served in 3 separate wars: Vietnam, Korea, and World War II. Those things were beasts and air tankers.
I'm not Googling this right now. No, I am. I have no idea what it looks like. Oh wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Plane.
Yeah, actually,
did a lot of work in the
at
Pacific.
FS Expo. Yep, did. At FS Expo last year, we ran into the crew chief for Special K, which is a B-26K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things are mean. They really are. They got the right 2800s in there. They are monstrous engines. A little bit slower takeoff there for Jesse Dobkins on that second run. And he's only on his first valid whole run here with the second one, so we'll see what he gets this time around.
So you said hot take on the B-17. I think most people will associate the B-17 with World War II bombing runs, but I think the B-17 was the glory dog, and the B-24 was the actual workhorse, at least on the American side.
Agreed. Yeah, I completely agree. The B-24 did have more work. It carried more bomb load, and it actually survived better. The B-17, because it had so many guns and so much weight and armor and ammo, It only carried 4,000 pounds. The Mosquito could carry 4,000 pounds of bombs, and was twice as fast. So.
Oh,
Yeah, the Mosquito is a
Some
really
mossy
interesting plane.
The Mozzies
Just to
are
break away
hilarious.
from
It's such
the,
a British aircraft.
Just to break away just a second, I could talk about World War II all day, but just to break away just a second, it looks like Barracus may have cut her close there. I don't think it was a scratch, but we're gonna have to wait from the judges. But anyway, the Mosquito is so interesting to me because it's made of wood. You know, you don't hear often of planes being made of wood.
Well, they all used to be,
yeah.
didn't
Hopefully,
they?
we'll
They
get to
started
see
somewhere.
one fly here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah,
Yeah.
when it started, yeah. Back in the day, for sure, yeah, they were all made of wood, and you know, in late 1930s, early 1940s, really wasn't that far from, you know, the start of aviation. When you think about it, it was only 30-some
No.
years.
Well, the big thing to remember here is Jeffrey de Havilland was a lunatic for a start, and
Yeah.
on top of that, you know, he created the racing plane that kind of came before the Invader, which was the DH-80, I think it was, that did the
Oh,
Adelaide
the
race.
super long nose.
Yeah. But the Mozzie, though, because it was made of wood, it was using a material that we weren't using at the time, because metal was being used for tanks, for guns, for aeroplanes. It was scarce. Metal working facilities were scarce. You had a ton of people who were used to building wooden, you know, stuff for vehicles, coach builders. You had, you know, people building boats and houses. So lots of people who could work with wood, untapped labor force, untapped resource in wood in the war. So suddenly you had tons of people, tons of materials, and you could put together these planes that were stupidly fast. They literally didn't need guns because they didn't need to defend against the fighters that could not keep up with them. They just dropped the hammer and outran the Germans.
Yeah, that's
hopefully
really
this year at
interesting.
Heritage Stoll we'll see one fly.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see some of those back in the air. I've gotten to see the, honestly it was a shivering moment of seeing, it was 2014 when the Canadian Lancaster came over to visit. There's only 2 of those in the world, by the way, still flying. Oh, and it's a scratch from the mall.
That's
It's second. But yeah, only 2
A little bit
Lancasters
of a
still flying,
bounce
one in
there.
England, one in Canada. I saw them and the B-17 fly together at Duxford in 2014. The Sally B. Incredible sight, seeing those 3 heavies.
So there's
that's awesome.
There's a big air show coming up in England, from what I've heard. Are you going to be going to that in person?
Do not think I will be, no. Lots of stuff on schedule, unfortunately. There are a lot of air shows we have here every year, and there's some incredible ones. I'm not quite sure which one you're referring to specifically, but
Tom told
most
me
of the
about it.
season
We'll
is
have to
coming up in a
refer
few
to
months
Tom.
yet.
Oh, it's the Stoll Fest.
Oh,
the
that?
real-
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately not.
It's called the Real Stoll Fest in England. Somewhere in
Yeah.
England.
That is May 17th. It's Brayton Aerodrome in on May Saturday and Sunday 17th to the 18th of May. Real Stall Fest.
Okay, Ab Angel, we'll have you take away the results presented by Parallel 42.
We will indeed, and Parallel 42's results today for the touring class have first place with Brown Dog with a top score there of 132. We've got Mark Hawkins in second place with 133. We've got Frozen Laskin in third place there with his Wilga in the 149. Jesse Dobkins 181. Tom Smith 220, and Fishfru bringing up last in the Wilga with a 233.
Well, I see a couple things here. I see Mark and Brown Dog added again between 1 foot, and then I see Fishfu again. Although he's in 6th place, he's bettering his numbers every single time he flies. So, you know, I think there's a lot of good to take out of somebody who can, you know, better their numbers every single time. And this is only Fishfu's 3rd competition. So, regardless of 6th place, great job to Fishfu and all the flyers today. But man, look at that, Mark and Brown Dog always within a foot of each other. I swear, it's like a curse. They can't get away from it. One or the other is going to be one foot in front of the other. All right, guys, we're going to take it away to a short commercial break. We'll be back in a few minutes with the next class coming up. Will be the Bush class. We'll talk to you guys here in a few seconds. Well, there you have it, guys. The DOF Reality full motion flight simulator cockpits. Those are amazing. I got to try one at Flight Sim Expo. They asked me to come try it, and I almost didn't do it because I had tried VR for the first time before that, and I almost got sick, you know, physically sick. So, but I still did it, and it like pretty much made everything better. Cam, you remember that? I was pretty, I was pretty sick in the booth.
Oh
after
man,
that. I didn't let anybody know, but yeah.
We were 5 minutes before broadcast, and you were like, "Man, I don't know." And I was like, "You'll be okay. You'll be all right." But man, you did come back, and it was not looking good for a minute.
They got me in that full motion simulator though, the DOF Reality, and it was, I think it was like I think it was only like the entry level model, and I flew the F-18, and I'm not much of an F-18 flyer, but I'll tell you what, it was a good time. I mean, I'm definitely saving up for one. I don't know when I'll be able to purchase one. You know, it's an investment to purchase one, but I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, that's a great price. I mean, their base models start just around $2,000. So as soon as I get enough money, I'll be getting one, and I'm gonna have to find a place to put it. May have to add on to the house, but that's okay.
Yeah, I must say, if I had the room for it, I'd probably do something similar because I've enjoyed simulators like that in the past. VR especially, but yeah, I think it's all down to how your body takes it. Weirdly enough, I've handled VR in space sims before where there's no down, and my brain's fine with that. But the second you put me in something like, what are they the shooting games in VR, where you have to walk around using like a stick rather than yourself.
Oh yeah.
You know the kinds I mean, where you have to use the joystick to move around. When I have to walk using a joystick, my brain disconnects immediately from the VR experience and I start to feel sick. But flying around upside down in space, not a problem. Just don't make me walk.
So coming up next, guys, the backcountry class, we have Lonestar eSTOL presented by Flight Sim Association. Byron Bowman, only 2 lone flyers today, Byron Bowman and Victor Wasser. These two go at it every single time, so you're going to see another tight race here. Number 75 in the 1954 Cessna 170B, flying out of Kentucky, United States, Byron Bowman. Number 94, Victor Wasser, 1953 Cessna 170B out of Skoksow, Poland. So 2 good friends here. These guys are going to go at it, and we're going to see some great competition here. So I want to know from chat, how many people from chat have a full motion simulator? Does anybody in chat use one, or do you have VR and you wish you had one? Let us know in the chat if you guys have one or you wish you had one. A full motion simulator, that is.
Chris Canada saying 170 class, let's get it. Pretty sure I recognize that name. Chris is a competitor with us, isn't he?
So right now you're seeing, yes he is. So right now you're seeing Byron Bowman in the Cessna 170B, the livery created by himself, made this livery himself, and it is a beauty. I don't know what it is about the 170s. It's kind of like almost a fanaticism about this plane. Everybody seems to love this plane in the flight simulator and in the real world. And you know, I don't know much about the 170B. It's not really my style of bush plane. So anybody who knows more about that 170B, can you tell me why people love it so much?
I can tell you why I love it, and that's because it's a true family hauler. It's a true camping, like backcountry aircraft. Like, I have a Champ, and in my Champ I've got a useful load of just around 450 pounds, maybe. I mean, I think that number might be a little bit off, but I can take I can take gas, and that's just about it. I can take somebody else, but I have to figure out my gas situation. With the 170B, you can take you, girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever, camping equipment, a cooler full of beers that you haven't cracked open just yet. But I mean, all the camping equipment, everything that you need to camp with, can go in the 170B, as opposed to the Taylor Craft, the Champs, the Cubs that just have a very small and useful load. So
well, speaking of the 170B, we have Victor Wasser pulling up and pulling down to get ready to start up, and he's doing a little bit of a show off there, pulling up the tail, keeping her balanced.
That awesome livery.
And that is against the wind. I hear Bob Seeger calling.
Yeah, no, what Cam said though, the 170s, they're like the 185s, they're like the 206s. They are a workhorse aircraft. So,
Yeah.
you know, they'll get you into tight spaces. They won't get into something as stupid as a Cub will get you into, or a Champ, but they'll get you into most places, but they'll carry the kitchen sink with it, which,
Yeah.
when you're flying in the bush, in reality, it's most often to do a job, and they will do that job.
That's really interesting too. I mean, it'll take you in where you need to go with the family and the dog too.
All those hunters and all their equipment are going out into the backcountry for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I never thought probably a lot of that like Alaskan hunting or Wyoming and we have a green flag from Race Control. Byron Bowman, taking off in the 170B, doing a little balancing act. Chris Roberts says, I wanted a full motion when I did racing and drifting. I'll stick with VR in this 49-inch ultra wide. Yeah, it's definitely save you a little bit of money, but I'm gonna definitely say that I have to get a full motion rig after trying one. But I don't know if I'll do VR with it. Call me what you will, but VR made me sick pretty bad. I think maybe I'll try it again someday. But
Ooh.
Good takeoff.
yeah, great start for the runs here for Byron.
Now, unlike
That
the
was really awesome,
Vilgas,
'cause-
the Cessnas really benefit from getting tail up.
Yeah, and you'll see that in the in real life competition for National Soul with all of our 170 drivers. They're very keen on picking up that tail and having some harrowing takeoffs on having some harrowing takeoff rolls, because it looks like a flop strike is just about to happen. But Jeff Toll and Micah definitely do that well.
Yeah, that's
the real
super
life
great to
competition.
see when you watch Micah do that. You know, it looks as if his prop is like a couple inches from the ground. I mean, realistically, it's probably a few feet from the ground, but you know, it's just, it looks so close. I mean, they should, you know, start up a lawn mowing business. In a short pattern from the 170Bs, Byron Bowman coming in. Byron Bowman is a real life pilot and a real life A&P mechanic. And so he is enjoying his day here in the sim, saving a little money on gas, flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator with us here at eSTOL. And if you guys want to join eSTOL or just be a part of the conversation, maybe you want to help out, volunteer, do some camera work or anything like that, join the Discord. It's nationalstol.com/chat. You can join in and talk to all the pilots and talk to everybody in there. So please feel free to join.
Beautiful
That
landing.
was-
Didn't give up much.
Precision.
How many feet? 55 feet on that landing. That's ridiculous.
No scratch on it
feel
either,
like
right?
No. I feel like he could have gone shorter, but that was a beautiful approach. It was so
Yeah.
stable.
We'll probably see what happened here. That happened in the last round with the Vilgas and the mall.
Oh.
Everyone was doing all right.
Ow.
Yeah. I mean, that last round is probably where we're going to see the shortest landings for sure, but that
Well,
is
floating.
short.
Was that a
12
helicopter?
feet.
Yeah. Wow.
When Victor calls that plane, yes, it is.
That is a straight up helicopter, ladies and gentlemen. That is the wrong category of airplane. This flight.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the turn as well in the background there, just showing off, just whips his tail around up in the air. Turn.
And in true
Oh,
Burstix
man.
TV style, I just realized that my chat from Twitch was paused, so I refreshed it. And hey, everybody, how are you guys doing over there on the Twitch? Thanks for tuning in. Montana Dude, Ringbolt, Ron Dog ATC, Captain Norris, welcome. Thanks for the raid from Frozen, Alaska. We appreciate you raiding the Lonestar eSTOL event. This is the last event of this season, so we're going to find out who are the big winners after this event here for all the money. Triton says, I also fly in VR with a DOF Reality H3. That's awesome. So the H3, I got to look that model up. That's cool. So we have some people in the chat with the DOF Reality stuff. I love it, man. Shout out to DOF Reality.
Man, these
You know,
short
they're taking-
takeoffs in the 170s are crazy.
Definitely. I mean, if you don't have them packed up with a bunch of stuff, they're not super heavy aircraft. I mean, the capability that they can carry, but they're heavier than a Cub or something like that. But they're not super heavy.
Ratio on it was fantastic.
But one of the things I like about DOF is that, it's not easy for everybody to get into something like a motion sim. So when you look at their stuff, they really do work hard to keep the price as low as possible with a quality product. And that's not easy to do. So it's one of the things that I really think, it's one of the reasons why we partner with DOF Reality for the season here, is because, they can provide a product that's a good product at a really good price. Nice stop out of Byron Bowman. I don't think it was as short as Victor's, but pretty short. Didn't give up much.
Winds 218 between 15 and 20 knots there, which is going to be, it's a little bit lower than we've been having earlier on. So the winds are getting a little bit lower. The gusting is also reducing, Cam. That could be a big factor for these guys. A little more stability in the airflow.
Oh yeah. As soon as the wind stops, you're going to lose lift, and the plane's going to slam down. So
wow, didn't give up an inch on that.
Yeah.
Maybe an inch.
Longer than his last run, but we're still talking ridiculously short.
And the Burst 6 TV chat over on the Twitch is going a little bit crazy for that last run. And as Byron Bowman pulls up for the last lap, Ringbolt 070 says these pilots know what they're doing out here today. And that's true. That's true. A lot of these people, they fly in real life or they fly in the sim nonstop. Ooh, this is a good one. Av Angel, can you grab that question? I think you may know this one. I'm just guessing. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I don't know exactly, but I just want to look it up specifically.
It's 40 pounds.
And I can tell you categorically. 40 pounds, wow, yeah. The gross is 200 lighter, but the empty is about 40 pounds. It's not a lot, really.
Same horsepower engine.
They're basically the same aircraft. Yeah, they're largely the same, other than one's a tail dragger and one's a trike, but let's not forget the 172 started out as a tail dragger too. The 172 was a fork of the design road.
So what came first then? Was it the 170 or?
I'm going to guess the 170 came first.
Yes, developed from the 1948 Cessna 170 was the 172 in 55. So yes.
So the 172 was meant to be an upgrade.
The 172 was the original tricycle gear version of the 170. So the 170 and the 172 are basically the same, only the 172's original model was a tricycle gear version of the same aircraft, including the same back profile, so no rear window. I forgot the special name Cessna gave it was for the window at the back, the Panavision or something window they call it, was added later on. So the original 170, Omnivision, there we go. The Omnivision window at the rear was added in the 1963 version of the 172.
Okay.
So, yeah, for about 10 years they had exactly the same body as the 170.
Yeah, I never knew that. I wouldn't. I don't think I ever would have guessed that either. But a lot of the Cessnas, they look the same to me, and it's hard for me to tell the difference between them. So I'm not super.
Scratch.
That was good. Unfortunately,
I guess I'm not an aviation.
Scratch was good.
Nope. I'm not an aviation aficionado. I don't know everything about it. I want to learn everything about it. But I started off flying helicopters in real life, and I did some training, and I never ended up finishing school because couldn't get a loan. But that's besides the point. So, my expertise didn't start with fixed wing. I actually fell in love with fixed wing from the flight sim.
Mm.
So, and then that turned into going out to real life, STOL events and things like that. And I tell you what, I could care less about helicopters for the most part. I love bush flying so much, but I do like helicopters still, but it's just not as much at all after I found bush flying.
Oh,
Hey, Cam.
Victor
Oh,
drops it in
oh.
before the. Yeah, got a little scratch.
Yeah.
That's probably what
Unfortunate
you were
there.
talking about earlier with the gusts. I mean, if as soon as it stops gusting, you have no air. So
Yeah, it's gonna let that plane down quicker than you expect,
Yeah.
and then there you see the scratch. But yeah, when you got two guys like Byron and Victor competing as they are, you're definitely gonna see some scratches, and if you don't, someone's playing it too easy.
Oh gosh, yeah, they're going for the absolute. Let's see what the worst I can do here is. They're trying to basically go as hard as possible because it's the challenge of it. It's the two of them competing. Go hard or go home. And to answer the previous, results are up here. So we've got them here. We've got 46 overall for Vasa, and Bowman with a 77. So super tight. Before we move on, though, Cam, I wonder if we should get Burstix to try and work out the difference between a 170.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You cut off for the second half of what you were saying, but yeah, I agree. We'll get Bursty in a 170B and a 172A since they're the closest related, and then we'll go from there. I got a 172A that you can fly in, Bursty, or at least I know where there's one that's readily available.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. I was gonna go for when I went down to the real life STOL event at Swamp STOL. I wanted to go for a ride that day, but it ended up the weather was bad and they didn't end up going to the river bars that they were going to go to. I mean, I've flown around in airliners and stuff like that, but I've never truly been in a bush plane for a flight. So I'm open if anybody wants to take me. I'm open for a flight.
When are you coming to Swamp STOL again this year?
No, I won't be coming to Swamp STOL again this year. I got the newborn at home, so I'm going to be
Yeah.
doing that, taking care of the newborn. Can't bring him down there just quite yet, but next year probably.
Mr. Dad duty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting being a dad. We named him Baron, because he's a little aviation, related, Red Baron, So, but anyway, we're gonna go to a commercial break. We'll be back here in just a few minutes, and don't go anywhere. More STOL action coming up next for the Lonestar STOL, the final event of the year. And we're back, guys, with some more STOL action coming your way. And the TL3000 that you just saw there in the commercial, one of the most fun planes that I've gotten recently. Now, I haven't flown too much in the sim as of the last few months because I've had a couple PC issues. But I'll tell you what, the TL3000 is amazing. And so from what I hear, that's our spec plane for today. And so we're going to be pulling up the spec class right here. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what the spec class is, Cam will give you a little information about what the spec class is. Cam, you want to tell them about the spec class?
Yeah, so the spec class is going to be aircraft that everyone is flying the same aircraft. So instead of us having a class of touring bush where you have the choice of aircraft within those categories, everyone in spec class is flying the exact same aircraft, the exact same conditions, no mods, just a free-for-all for piloting skills. So this is where we get to see all of our favorite competitors compete and see which one really is the best, who has the best piloting skills, and who isn't used to flying their aircraft for 3+ hours of practice.
Nice. So I wonder if we're going to see any parachutes today out of any of these flyers here. Today we've got NorCali J, number 22, flying out of Eureka, California. Victor Vasser, number 94, flying out of Skoksow, Poland. Joseph Sherry, number 34, flying out of Idaho. Wes Campbell, number 72, flying out of Wiley, Texas. And Mark Hawkins, number 12, flying out of Plymouth, UK. So we've seen Mark fly today. We've seen Victor fly today. But we've not seen NorCali, Joseph. And there was one more there. I couldn't quite catch the name. But so there's 3 people here we have not seen fly yet today. And we're going to see some.
I like seeing that Av Angel banner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Anop does a great job on these sceneries. And by the way, if you guys want to pick up this scenery, it is available in the Microsoft Flight Sim store for a low price of $4.99. And so you can get it on Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, and it will transfer over to 2024. Yeah, I got a chance to take this plane a little bit early from Raul over there at FS Reborn, one of my favorite developers for the Flight Sim. Raul is full of energy and full of love for the Flight Sim. Definitely one of the passionate developers there is out there for Flight Sim stuff. And so I got a little early release on this, and I couldn't quit flying it. I flew it for probably 3 days straight, probably ignored some of my work that I should have been doing, etc. But so yeah, I couldn't put it down for about 3 days, and this was really the last plane I got to fly much of before my computer took a little hit. I had to get the graphics card checked out and stuff. So, but anyway, NorCali J in the orange TL3000, orange and white.
Great level of detail there in that model. The LED wingtip lights included. We'll love to see that. Attention to detail by developers.
Yeah, it's the little things a lot of times that sets the plane apart. You know, anybody can plop a model down from some 3D model website and put some sound in it or whatever, but the little details when it comes to things like that, like the the wing lights or the bolts or the cables, all that kind of stuff is what really puts life into the Flight Sim in a big way, as far as the planes are concerned. And Victor Vasser revving up the engine a little bit in that TL3000. And another attention to detail thing about this is one of the other attention to detail things about this plane here, you might have seen it in the commercial, it actually has a working parachute. So I don't think we're going to see any parachutes today because these guys are all, professionals. But it is there if you need it. The parachute works in the flight simulator just as it does in real life.
And like you said, they're professionals. They don't need a parachute. They can just actually fly the airplane like you're supposed to, down to the ground if needed. So
yeah, I get a lot of questions, because I have I have a lot of, you know, I spend a lot of time talking about aviation and stuff, and from friends in the real world, they always ask me like, well, you know, why don't they like, you know, why doesn't everybody that gets on an airliner wear parachutes, etc. You know, when there's an accident or something that happens in the real world, and it's like, well, I mean, how safe would you feel if you got on the plane and the pilot was wearing a parachute? You know what I mean? It's like you wouldn't feel as safe, you know, like, oh, you don't think you could fly this thing? And so, you know, what I think would be a great idea would be a separating, you know, the fuselage. Yeah, separating fuselage that would come down just as it flies through the air, except for straight down with 3 or 4 parachutes. I think that'd be a great idea. I don't know why they don't do that. It wouldn't solve all accidents. It wouldn't solve, you know, every single accident, because a lot of them, unfortunately, you know, happen closer to the ground, etc. But you know, where a parachute wouldn't be able to pull. But yeah, it might be a good idea. I don't know why nobody's done it yet. Somebody probably has a reason why, though. Otherwise, I feel like it would have been done.
Yeah, it just brings me back to that. I guess it was an animation of a proposed fuselage parachute system, and the wings, like the fuselage comes out, like all the cabin comes out of the actual aircraft, but like the pilots and the wings and everything else are they're completely separated. So when they find everyone safely, the pilots will unfortunately have gone down with the ship. So
that is unfortunate. Mark Hawkins taxiing on down in the black, green, and white TL3000. This was the one that I took out first. I love this color scheme, black, green, and white. Not 3 colors you see often together, but I'll tell you what, it sure looks great on this plane. And look at the little wax marks. You know, you can see where they've waxed the plane, etc. That is great detail.
It looks like he's gone for some extreme weight saving, as he's even forgotten to load the pilot too.
Yeah.
That could be a multiplayer thing. I think it's a multiplayer thing, but yeah, talk about weight saving. Skip the pilot. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, you could, you know, get the remote control out, I guess, and
yeah. Or if we look inside the cockpit, there's a little cat hanging onto the yoke at the bottom, trying to steer.
You know, that's one thing about 2024, and I notice in all of your videos you have the cat with you,
yes.
Or you know, maybe the dog. I miss that in
it's
2024.
The cat. Yeah. Basically, so TLDR dev side, as we'll watch this one take off first. I'll explain this after the takeoff. So.
Yeah, I'm sure people want to know. People loved that package from Got Friends freeware.
I can tell them why after this takeoff.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear. I wonder what we're gonna see, you know, as far as takeoff and landings. I didn't really, when I was flying this previously, I didn't really get into a lot of real short takeoff and landing stuff. I was more just airport flying at that point. Glenn Roberts says the amount of weight added to make a. Could we get that graphic back up just for a second?
Oh yeah, basically the weight involved with all the mechanics and everything for that separating fuselage would be a little much.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
That's from Glenn Roberts, our own drone operator at the IRL competitions.
Oh, Glenn. Yeah, I like Glenn. Good guy.
Mr. CW.
Also, out of all air crashes in, say, the last 20 years, how many would have been saved by a separable cabin as well? Is another factor to consider, because it will not save every situation.
Yeah, there's a lot of situations where they wouldn't do anything. Just like you know, with
collisions.
Yeah, just like parachutes in this plane here, you know. You got to be so far off the ground to blow it anyway.
Oh yeah. I would say arguably there's a lot of situations where a parachute isn't valid. The pilot just needs to fly the aircraft into the crash, as we're instructed to do, as we've learned to do as GA pilots. The ballistic parachute is a pacifier, just unneeded, honestly.
It's a nice, comfortable idea that's never actually going to save you outside of set circumstances. The only times I see it being useful are things like Mike Patty's aircraft, where he's got one fitted to his latest one, because you could end up in a dead-end valley in a bush plane, where your choice is die on a mountainside or pull the parachute, and that's actually going to possibly save your life. Yes, but some doctor in his Bonanza or his Cirrus who panics and just pulls the chute rather than actually trying to fly the plane, aviate first. always. In most cases, GA plane will
Absolutely.
fly as long as the wing doesn't fall off. And how often do the wings fall off?
Yeah, they say aviate, navigate, and communicate.
Yeah. Like, honestly, as long as the wing stays on, and they generally always do, you're fine. Just point it to the ground and pull
Yeah.
up. You've got energy.
I did want to mention
But
Sage
to answer the
Lynn.
question- oh, go on.
Sage Lynn from the chat was mentioning that Joseph is sponsored by Hangar 713 Studios and FS Reborn, and it's pretty interesting. We have our flight sim developers really wanting to take part and join in on this, and all the love that we've seen from all the flight sim developers that have been a part of this has definitely been interesting, and I'm happy to see and watch all these developers come up with planes and modify their planes and come up with new models of current planes, similar to what Parallel 42 did. It's really cool. I love seeing that. We've created something here that we have a great fan base. Appreciate everybody watching. We have a great developer base. We have a great team here. Everybody from the line judges to the camera operators. It's a big operation to put this on, and we wouldn't be able to do it without every one of you. So thank you guys. May have been a scratch there. What do you guys think?
I think you're
I
good.
don't know. Yeah,
Now,
it
if they
looked good.
touch the line, the rule stands now is if they touch the line, it's a scratch. You have to land over the line. Now, last year, the rules were a little bit different. You could touch the line, you just couldn't land before the line. Well, this year, yeah, you have to land over the line. You cannot touch the line. So, and you noticed a little bit early on in the season, I think maybe there was a little confusion from some of the pilots, even though we've explained the rule, etc. But you get so used to doing something, you might forget. But I think by now, everybody knows you got to land over the line.
I think it was after the line. I think it was just after looking at how the grass was falling, but I think it was just after. We need to see another angle for it to really kind of be told, though.
Yeah.
It looks like we've got to go around
I'll listen to that.
Yeah.
from
go around.
Joseph.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that Rotax 915, I guess.
15, yeah.
Ooh, nice landing.
Ooh,
Gave up a little
good.
bit, but nice landing.
To answer the question, though, about the 24 pilots, if you're interested, folks.
Oh, yes, yes.
Basically, so first off, the pilots are proprietary currently because they're still attached to the character creator system in 24. I did specifically ask this of the guys at Microsoft, so Jorg from Microsoft and Sebastian from Asobo. They want to have it where people can add new characters for pilots and co-pilot figures. That is down the line intended. Oh, bit of a long run out there. Yeah, really
Nice,
long run out
nice
there.
stop or nice placement on the runway there. But yeah, let her run out way too long. So
yeah, they want to have it
basically,
as a
you're
thing.
saying,
It's not a thing yet.
yeah. So
But the big
I'm
part is
excited.
currently, yeah,
They
it's-
do it.
It's locked behind the creator essentially, but the reason why you often get some issues currently with other ones being imported is where in 2020 pilot figures were attached by their backside to the seat. Now they're attached by their feet.
Ah. Yeah, because
So
they're
there's a
getting
whole
out
different
and
placement
walking
to the pilot
around.
figure in the cockpit. Yes, because now you have to be able to walk around, so your feet are now the bottom part of the pilot figure. But yes, basically, whilst it's still locked behind the thing and there's no marketplace, and it's still locked, whether they'll open it up, I don't know. That's the big thing. They haven't decided to open it yet, so it is still going to stay proprietary, unfortunately, which is sad.
Well,
I
hopefully
want
we
Captain
do
Whiskers
see it.
back. I need him.
And I think the cool thing about Microsoft Flight Sim is the fact that they talk to creators such as yourself, and I've had a chance to mention some things to some of the guys too, and it's pretty interesting. You don't see that in video games as much anymore, where the developers are so in tune with their audience, and I think Microsoft Flight Sim does a really good job at that. They may get a little heat for things here and there, but someone who plays other games, I would say they're one of the better developers at listening to their community and being open, and so we appreciate that from Microsoft Flight Sim, definitely.
Yeah, people give him a lot of
Little
stick, but the
porpoising
guys
on that
that
last-
really care.
Yeah.
A little bit, no, I agree, yeah, Cam. It was little buoyancy. But what we got here from Joseph Sherry? Oh, pretty good, I think.
Yeah, gave up a little bit on the landing, but stopped it in time, so he might make up for a little bit of that landing over the line with the short stop there. Another great livery. That pearlescent purple.
Yeah, I'm liking that. These aircraft look like Technums to me. Familiar with
Yeah,
like a
they do.
Technum P2010 or 2008. I flew a 2008
Yeah.
in my pilot, first little bit of my pilot training, and yeah, that tail is like, I'm just looking for that Technum logo.
Yeah, they have that little kind of LSA Technomy kind of vibe to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Foxfly Studio from the YouTube saying, "Let's go, Cali."
Aggie pilot, which was Glenn just a little while ago, saying hi, Cam. What's up, Glenn?
Glenn, the drone pilot for the National eSTOL competitions, one of them.
And a competitor. He competed for the first time last year with him and his partner's Champ.
Competed in the Champ. That's interesting. No, the
Yeah.
Champ doesn't have any flaps, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah, so we're in the
Got it.
flapless class, under 100 horsepower.
That's got to be a challenge to land, to try to land STOL without any flaps. I mean, I guess you probably. What's the technique there if you can go through that, in an easy to understand?
I mean, you want to be the name of the game is being as slow as possible, right? Without flaps, it's a little bit hard. So, I mean, you're going to fly to the edge, I mean, to the very edge of the envelope in a Champ for the competition. Nose high, bringing it in slow. You can choose that route,
setting it
just
in.
depending on the wind. Yeah, setting it in, having a
Yeah.
nice stabilized approach. Or, I mean, when you do a slip, if you come in high, this is a theory of mine, and I know Glenn is listening right now. A theory of mine is if you come back around on approach high, bring it in a hard flip, a very hard flip,
Yeah.
with enough distance for your round out to slow down your speed, then I mean, I think essentially you'll be able to get like sub 80 foot landings. I mean, I would like to think so. If you've got good brakes, got hydraulic brakes especially, you'll probably be able to pull out definitely sub 100, but sub 80 is what I would expect. But this is all theory. We'd hope maybe we might see something like that happen this year between Glenn
I think that's
and
one of the
maybe
things
another
that
mysterious champ.
I think that's one of the
So-
things that drew me to STOL in the first place was, watching two different approaches, right? And it's not all about, Dan and Steve, but when you see the way that Dan flies in the same class as Steve, it's much different. And and then other guys too and girls, they're going against each other. Some guys are coming in really high, some guys are hanging it off the prop, 50 feet off the ground or so, or some guys come in low for a long time and other guys drop it in high and kind of just plop it in, so it's so interesting. You got different planes, you've got different winds, you've got different pilots and different techniques coming in and landing and taking off, and there's just so much to it. And it's like anything that I can delve into and wrap my brain around like that and learn, it's like, give that to me, because I want to learn everything I can. I love that about aviation, just the fact that you can learn so much, and in the flight sim as well, things that you'd never maybe be able to do in real life, like try to learn how to fly an airliner, for instance.
So I've
Yeah, I
never
think
flown
what's-
in this series. Okay.
No, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say I've never flown in this series, but when I'm trying to, oh, that's just definitely a scratch, unfortunately, from him. But I've never flown in this series, but I do obviously do a lot of bush flying, and my preferred technique when it comes to kind of landing short like this is, at least in my technique, is not mine, definitely not mine. It's an very old technique. I go for the high alpha. I bring the plane in, the wing above neutral, and I want to basically stall the wing down. I'm going to ride it down on the stall, and I'm only using my engine to change my point of impact. So I'm trying to have as little energy as possible on the aircraft, really, really low energy. You're hearing the stall horn going the whole way down. It's music whilst you work, and just let it ride down. Use the prop just to kind of move that position of impact forwards. So when you do actually give it a burst of power to round out, you're touching down with next to no energy left, and the plane just stops. So it's pretty good once you know the area and the approach, but it's not very good if you're not familiar with it. If it's an improvised approach, then I'd honestly probably go with the slip, like Cam said. They're much more controllable and predictable, and you can also power out of them easier.
Yeah.
You can slip right into the flare. Glenn was saying that his
Listen to the power
go
put in
around.
on that landing there. He needed to, and that's exactly what Avangel was just talking about. He needed to extend his landing out a little bit because he was going to scratch, and you heard him put probably all the engine power he had, and ended up a little further over than he probably wanted to be. But either way, he made it over the line using the power as Avangel was describing.
Yeah, Glenn was saying that his stall speed is 42 miles an hour, which honestly I think that's a little bit slower than what my stall speed is in my champ. But he was saying that 42 miles an hour is a lot of energy to put on the brakes. So I'm sure me and him are going to have a discussion here after a while about what's going to be the best approach for our aircraft in the competition series coming up this year.
So Wes Campbell giving up a lot over the line, but he got it stopped really short. But you know, as we measure this, it starts from the line, and then it goes all the way until where you stop. So it's not just from when your wheels touch the ground to when you stop. It's the whole shebang. It's the line to where your wheels stop. So that's what the point. You know, the goal is they're trying to land as close to that line as possible without touching it. And sometimes they do give away a little bit of length there, but it's not easy to do. It's something that these guys practice, and if you want to join in on some eSTOL practice, feel free to join at nationalstol.com/chat. You can get into the Discord, meet the pilots. We have ambassador pilots that will help you learn how to fly from, you know, maybe you've never even looked at an airplane before, or maybe you have some good experience but you want to get better, etc. It doesn't matter. Any level will take you. nationalstol.com/chat. Come fly with us and join in the competition.
I don't think we just mentioned the winds, but they are up crazy now. 30-40 degree crosswind right now of 18 knots. So it's starting to swing for us, which is definitely going to be changing how these guys are landing.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, they'll be landing and taking off a little bit differently. And if you've never seen one of our competitions before, wait till you see these guys take off into the wind on the line. It's pretty interesting to watch these guys maneuver their plane into the wind. But it's all the technique of the pilots.
Yeah, it really is. It definitely adds a bit of spice to how they're going to have to behave with this plane. Cam?
What I was about to say is, since we've got a little time, I know Steffi TH on YouTube was saying that he had his mom, or they had their mom watch the competition. She doesn't really know what's going on. So real quick, what we're doing here is, Burst, did you just describe what we just did? Because I know that you were talking about the line.
A little bit, yeah. I didn't describe the entire STOL process, but just the fact of, like, you know, landing over the line and how it's scored. I did. Yeah.
So what another host for National STOL for the real life competitions, Brian Dabrowski, he likes to make an analogy that what we're doing is that we're trying to land on a gravel bar on the river, and if you land ahead of the line, like before the line, you're going to land in the drink. You're going to land in the river. It's going to be wet. It's not going to be good. You cross
maybe
the line,
damage the
and
plane.
that's the very edge. Oh yeah, you know, prop strike, some random bass jumps into the prop, something, you know, anything could happen.
A fish strike would be a new one, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bush flying. You might see that.
Yeah, to be fair, if you're talking floats, then yeah, fish strikes are a thing. Don't worry, that happens.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have to really be cognizant of that. I haven't done it yet, but here in Arkansas, on the Arkansas River, we have a lot of carp, and the carp love to jump.
Yeah.
And they will jump
They're
into
big
your boat.
too as well.
They'll slap you in the face.
Oof.
So yeah.
Yeah, they're a heavy bottom feeding fish. They're definitely gonna strike the prop and strike the prop hard.
Big takeoff from NorCali there. 222
One
getting
of
a
the
massive launch.
Yeah, really. And Norcali J is one of the fan favorites. Everybody's always cheering and hooting and hollering for him in the chat. So
Yeah.
if you love Norcali J, make sure you let us know in the YouTube and Twitch chats and Facebook.
Yeah, I'm sad that I didn't get a chance to hang out with Norcali on his U.S. tour with him and his wife last year.
I think Norcali is still a bachelor, by the way.
Oh, is he? I'm getting him mixed up
I know
with
yes,
Frankie,
probably
but
thinking Frankie.
Norcali was on.
Yes,
But Norcali was
yeah.
on the tour last year. He came through Arkansas, was hitting me up, and I think I was already in. I think we were getting ready for Oshkosh at that point, and I missed him.
I got a chance to hang out with him when we were at the casino for a little while. Really cool dude. And so another point to this too is, we support our Twitch streamers and our ambassador pilots, and Norcali is an ambassador pilot, one that helps other pilots get started in National eSTOL. So make sure you check Norcali J out on Twitch and maybe catch a group flight with him, a bush flight with him. I really like the way that they're taking off in these planes. I mean, these planes don't have a ton of power, but they're really light. But it's really interesting because, they're almost dragging that tail and they're just riding the wheelie into the wind.
It'll make a big difference for how the plane wants to behave for them, so that's going to be important. And you can really just, again, part of this, someone mentioned it in your chat actually, Bursix, and they're right, is that a large part of this is airflow of the wing, and that can also come from the prop too. So it's not necessarily about forward speed, whether it's approach or takeoff, but this is obviously how those aircraft can get the tail up. So if you aren't familiar with this kind of flying out there watching this stream, if you've seen these aircraft that can get their tail up in the air, it's not that they have some sort of hydraulics in there. This isn't, an Impala in the middle of downtown LA. These things are basically picking the tail up because you're getting air from the propeller is going over the tail surface, and when you've got air over the tail surface, when you deflect the control surface, just like when it's flying, it moves the tail. So that's how they can stand them up. It's using that prop wash to try and help benefit the landing and takeoff.
Yeah, I found that really interesting. When anybody who's flown the Savage Gravel has probably experienced this, and so a little tip for you: if you're flying the Savage Gravel and you have the flaps down, sometimes you'll find in really slow flight on landing, you'll not be able to control the rudder. So the way to fix that is to pull the flaps up, and then your prop wash will now be going over your rudder, and you have control of the rudder again. But in that particular plane, the prop wash is directed down when the flaps are fully down, and then it's not going over the tail. So yeah, you're flying through the air, but you don't have any rudder control unless you have airflow over it from the prop. Well, maybe very little, but it's can be disorienting if you don't know that. So make sure if you're having trouble with the Savage Gravel, just put the flaps up and you'll be fine.
Norcali threw down
Certainly a big factor.
super short landing, 22 feet on this landing and the previous landing.
Wow.
And that's 22 feet total, eh? He must be landing just on the line.
No, just landing.
Just landing. It's 71 total, but yeah, I mean, like these shortest landings in this class.
Scratch
for sure.
from
By
Victor.
half. By half. The closest
Push it.
landings we've had so far have been 55 with one before that.
There we go.
Yeah, and that may be all skill, or that may be, maybe he got a good gust blowing him back a little bit.
It's true. We are having this is a gusting situation with the weather right now.
Captain North says, too tight. We need to see the numbers, people.
And of course, one of the things we have to consider, this being the final round, guys, is that we are down to our championships, of course, and who's winning what. And this being, of course, the spec class. I mean, take a wild guess who's already on top anyway. It's Mr. Norcali. And this is only going to really further cement things if he keeps his current scores up.
Oh,
A little bit of a malfunction there.
yeah, just a little bit.
Couldn't keep the airflow over the wings. Close enough to the ground where he's taxiing away.
Was that Wes Campbell or Mark Hawkins?
I'm not sure. I think Mark is
Guess it was
still in
Wes,
the
'cause I
air.
think-
Yeah, so Wes did damage the wing. He's out for the rest of the tries, but I think his previous tries will still count. We'll have to get
Mark approach.
verification on if his previous tries will count, but Wes Campbell is disqualified for damage to the plane.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean it happens. You see the prop strikes, you see some of that stuff sometimes, and that's one of the things about the flight simulator is it's a perfectly safe place, of course, unless you're Smitty, but because he's in his full motion rig that goes all over the place. But no, it's a perfectly safe place to do this, and so it's a really nice learning environment. And I'll tell you what, the Microsoft Flight Sim does a really good job at making this as close to real life as possible without any of the dangers that may be associated with it real life.
That is the big thing, of course, is you can crash over and over again in Flight Sim, and you get up and do it again. It's the best part because you can learn from your mistakes, and whether you fly in real life or not, it's a great teaching tool because if you are objective with yourself, invariably the fault is yours when it comes to Flight Sim, unless it's an aircraft with random failures introduced where it's going to snap up its wing spar on you or throw an engine. It's going to basically be your fault most cases. So you sit down and learn from what you did and improve your aviation, because otherwise you'll just repeat the same mistakes.
So the Lonestar
Crashing is free
eSTOL
at this
presented by FS Reborn, #1 in the class, the winner, NorCali J, with the best run of 71 feet. Victor Vosser coming in second place with a best run of 109 feet. Joseph Sherry with a best run of 137 feet. Mark Hawkins coming in fourth with 197 feet. And then Wes Campbell coming in at fifth place with 246 feet. And so congratulations to the winner of this class, the spec class, and thank you to FS Reborn for sponsoring the spec class. So guys, make sure to check out dofreality.com. Make sure you bookmark the page and check out their full motion flight simulators, some of the best in the business and some of the best pricing that you could possibly get. So we're going to take to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the unlimited class. We have one more class left in the 2024 season of National eSTOL. See you guys in a few.
Takeoff and landing competitions are simple. We have the pilots here competing in separate classes to get the lowest score possible. As you see behind me, we have the start-finish line, so let's start with the takeoff.
This runway is marked with a start-finish line, and as a competitor parks their main gear on the line, they apply power and position their aircraft to get off the ground as soon as possible. Once their main gear leaves the ground, a line judge will mark their takeoff score using the measuring line along the side. This score will be added to the pilot's landing score on this heat. The landing is in two parts. It's either over the line and counted, or if the pilot's main gear touches down before the line, or even touches the line, this heat score is scratched and results on a landing disqualification, and the pilot will have to rely on another takeoff and landing score to get them on the podium. A quick look at our aircraft shows we have two types of landing gear: tricycle and tail draggers. On the tail dragger aircraft, the score is marked from the two main wheels toward the front of the airplane. And for tricycle landing gear, the score is marked by the two main gear in the rear of the aircraft. It's a fierce competition out here, but at the end of the day, it's all about building better and safer pilots in the skies.
It's a great day for STOL competitions. Let's get it started.
Hey, it's Trent. Fly low, don't die. be my wingman and join in the adventure. Now available in the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace on PC and Xbox.
And welcome back, everybody, to National eSTOL Lonestar Stole. And we are coming up with the Unlimited class. This, I have to say it's my favorite class. It's the most interesting class to me because you have so many different styles of the way that this can be done. You have people with big engines and they don't care so much about their plane's weight within reason. And then you have people in the really light planes. You have tricycle gear. You have tail draggers. You have it all. The Unlimited class, the most competitive one. And I have to say, hands down, probably because Kat is in this class. And Kat really does make it competitive. And like I said earlier, she is going to go for gold or she's going home. She doesn't care. She wants first place or no place. She won't settle for second. So coming up in the Lonestar eSTOL, we'll introduce you to the pilots, brought to you by FS Expo. Number 88, Pete C. in the 2024 Kitbox Series 5, flying out of the United Kingdom. Number 22, NorCali J. in the Savage Carbon, flying out of California, U.S. Luke Carrier, number 99, in the CH-701, flying out of Waynesville, Ohio. Joseph Sherry in the X-Cub SS, flying out of Idaho. Sarah Eggleton in the Kitbox Series 5 from Wigan, UK. And Cat Blue Flame in the Zenith CH-701, flying from Great Britain. Oh, and two more. We have Wes Campbell flying the Kitbox Series 5 out of Wiley, Texas. And Cedric P. from Lübeck, Germany, flying this Savage Grapple. And we are going to bring you guys an onboard pilot view from Pete, one of our Parallel 42 sponsored pilots, flying his Kitfox with no doors. And if you weren't, if you're just tuning in, I want to mention that Avangel brought up a really good point about no doors on the plane. I never thought, even though I did this bush flying and I looked, through the no doors, I never really thought about it. It's so much easier to point and pick where you're going to land when you don't have doors on the plane. So definitely an interesting point that I used that technique, but never really thought about doing it.
With doors, or having the windows in the bottom half of doors as well, and or different visibility ability for the aircraft or the way the cockpit's designed. So you'll see that that's been a real development in terms of actual bush-specific design to aircraft that's built to do that certain job. Obviously, the seating position of the Beaver even gives you a good visibility because of your high up seat within the actual cockpit, so you can look down quite well at the main gear. But yeah, it will make a big difference. Obviously, as you see here with Pete's Kitfox, no, there's not a glitch. His engine cover is off because weight reduction, bro. That is a thing. He's saving them grams, and grams will matter.
And that is a neat looking plane. I love how mean it looks, the way it sits, the way it looks, the way it sounds. Really, really great plane. In the real world and in the flight sim, just a great plane all around, the Kitbox Series 5. And now out of Pete today, you're going to see some really competitive runs. He is always in the top of the pack. So barring any crazy wind situations where he loses a gust or something like that, should see some really great performance out of Pete today. NorCali J taxiing down in the Savage Carbon. That's been his plane all year long, and he's won a couple events. Still looking for another win, though, here at the last event of the season. And most of the pilots flying handcrafted liveries that they've done themselves. Then they put on stickers from every event that they've competed in. And it's pretty cool to see the pilots go and add all this stuff to their planes as they're proud of the events that they participated in, whether they won or lost. It's always a good time. So it looks like we have
I'd
a
be
pilot.
interested in seeing how. Oh, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, it looks like we have the pilot back in the one of the planes, and then Evangel was talking about the other plane not having any pilots. Well, this plane makes up for it because it's got 2 pilots in it.
There you go.
Now, obviously,
Lots up in the
you
air.
don't. Yeah, you don't fly STOL with 2 pilots typically. You know, but yeah, it's what we get sometimes in the flight sim. You have little things like that where you can't really do anything about it. You can't get the other pilot out of the plane, so there it is. But the CH-701 been one of the most competitive planes this year. This plane in the flight simulator was done by SimWorks Studios. Very inexpensive, great starter plane to get started up with if you're just coming into the flight simulator world. You can pick this thing up sometimes on sale for as little as $1.99. I've seen it. But a very great plane, great textures, great sounds, great flight characteristics, and definitely one of the most competitive planes this year, even after it has been nerfed a couple times. The performance has been taken down on that plane a few times to make it a little closer to real life specs, and still very, very competitive plane.
Yeah, and if it looks like it's made out of garden shed, that's correct, because it's a kit plane, and they are that boxy. But whilst it loses in looks, it definitely makes up for in performance. They are great planes to fly around, and the very first SimWorks Studios plane I actually picked up from them, and one that stays in my library because it is just a great little fun flyer.
Yeah, definitely one that you take out and fly every now and then, and you never really take it out of the. It gets clogged up. You only have so many gigabytes to keep planes in, you know. But that's one I always keep as well. And Joseph Sherry, number 34, taxiing down in the BBP X-Cub SS. This plane was developed by Easy Rider and friends. A lot of hard
great
work.
Plane. I love that thing.
Oh yeah, it was basically developed, you know, publicly almost, you know, where everybody got a chance to try it and put in their input and everything like that. And so it was definitely came from a place where, you know, it wasn't anything like it is now, and now it's so polished that it's, I mean, it's just amazing to see the work everybody did on that. I was really happy to see it join the competition here at eSTOL too, because it's just, why not have another plane in unlimited class that can compete with the rest of them?
It'll certainly provide that, as we're going to get the stripped down monster going first here.
Be prepared to
see in the Kit Fox series 5.
Yeah, he's gonna manage something all right, because this plane is wild.
Yep.
And
Oh,
there you have it. I don't even know if that was 20 feet.
I'm gonna go for 34 feet.
Angel says 34.
I'm guessing.
I'm going 20.
We'll find out in a second.
But yeah, that's why we have
It was
judges.
25.
25.
25 feet.
Not bad.
Or Kelly with a
Short.
beautiful takeoff in the Carbon. He's a veteran of the skies in the flight simulator. He's been flying with us since day one and is an ambassador pilot. So if you're looking to get into this, NorCali's the one to talk to. Reach out to him and he'll be able to help you learn how to fly or learn how to get into the competition wherever your skill level lies. Ooh, saucy takeoff from the CH-701. Luke Carrier flying with us for a long time. There's one thing about SWS, and I don't know if it's just me, but when I look at an SWS plane for the flight simulator, their metals and their tires and everything, to me they look just so realistic. I don't know how they do their textures, but they seem so realistic and full. And so one of my favorite developers, SWS, and they've got a lot of good planes out as well. Beautiful takeoff as well from Joseph Sherry in the X-Cub
22 feet.
SS. How many feet was that?
22.
22. Is that the best one so far, right?
No, Luke Carrier had 17.
Wow.
Yes, leave it to the CH701.
Right. Ugly but functional.
All right, chat. So we need to know, who do you think is going to win the unlimited class today? Is it going to be the Tri-Gear, the CH701? Is it going to be the Kit Fox? Is it going to be the X-Cub? Who and what? Maybe even the Carbon. Who and what is going to win the unlimited class today? We need some predictions in the chat, and we'll see how the real world takes us to the winner.
Pete C on fine.
Let's take a look at the skies there for a second. You know, one thing that we don't talk about every time is the fact that in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, there is weather that mirrors what real life weather looks like. So if you were in Texas out on this airfield today, you might see clouds that look very, very similar to what you're seeing on the screen there. And the winds and barometric pressure. Oh, wow. Great landing.
Just
That's
the
almost
precision of that
scary.
approach, it was beautiful. It was helicopter approach. He just came in, such measured precision there, and the plane just dropped down where he wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the wingspan, you know, the square footage of that wing, and I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of wing, you know. So when you can set it in like that, and just use the prop to keep you floating long enough to get over that line, you have a beautiful landing like you just saw there from Pete C. And Norcali J dropping it in like a professional.
Woo!
Oh, and a prop strike.
Oh.
Prop strike from
that'd be a
Norcali. Yep, so that will be a disqualification, and because it was in his first round, unfortunately Norcali will not have a prop to complete the next two rounds. So Norcali will be out for the round, but you know, he did real well in the spec class, so he can't be too mad at his day.
Here comes the shed. Look at that hover.
And
Look at this thing. What?
What?
That may be
Come on
a
now.
scratch, though. That may be a scratch. We can't.
No,
we
I don't
can't-
think it was.
Oh man, I'm gonna say scratch. I'm gonna say
I'm
scratch.
saying that was
Abby
illegal.
Angel says no
That was
scratch.
illegal.
Cam, what do you say?
I mean, I don't think it was a scratch. You're crazy.
All right,
though.
two against
Yeah,
one.
that was
I'm saying I'm
ridiculous.
sticking with scratch.
That was
I've been wrong
insane.
before though. So you see a low approach here, and basically level with the ground. He's just using that power to pull the plane through the air with the prop, and he's gonna try to just slow and steady drop it in.
Oh, that's questionable.
Another
as well.
really
I mean, like,
short landing.
I think it's just.
you're
good.
right,
That
that
was
is correct.
ridiculous. Was it?
Okay, it's
still
oh,
a scratch for Luke Carrier.
And,
That
and
is
3
also,
feet,
I
but
shocking.
it's a scratch.
think,
Three
wow,
feet.
3
Oh
foot
my
landing.
Yeah,
God.
for Luke, Joseph just did 11. So
But I think
I mean, it's
Joseph
still
scratched too.
numbers.
I'm calling scratches all day long. Call me scratches O'Houlihan.
These guys, yeah, they are landing in spaces they can't take off from. This is crazy stuff.
Yeah, these guys are on a different level. I mean, the unlimited pilots, obviously they're in the unlimited class. It's the flashiest class. These guys and gals, these pilots are just, they're going for gold here. And so you're going to see some scratches. I mean, unfortunately, that's what happens when you ride the edge like that so close. It's how you get, 3-foot landing, though.
Point of note here, you notice the gaps in the flaps there on the Kit Fox. That's intentional. Because it can do that. It's letting you get air through to the tail.
Oh, interesting. That's a great little.
Yeah.
That's a great little point.
They seal them up for speed, but without them sealed up, they're actually useful.
Are those Fowler flaps?
They are indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they call them like flaperons for like a slang type of term. But yeah,
Flaperons I don't know if they're flaperons. Flaperons are ones that are actually control surface that can droop as well. I don't know if they're flaperons on that aircraft, but
I think they are, but I could be mistaken. It's been a little bit since I've got a chance to fly the Kit Fox, but if I remember right, the flaps do move with the control surfaces.
then they may well be. I believe they're not Fowler, but they're slotted, which is similar.
Ooh, nice takeoff from the pink plane, Joseph Sherry. Pink or purple, one of the two, maybe both. And so, guys, we have a hot competition right now between the pilots currently in this heat. There is another heat. There'll be 4 more unlimited class pilots, and now everybody is competing against each other. So regardless of the heat that they're in, all of the pilots in both heats are competing against each other's numbers. So it's not over when this heat is done. We still have one more heat. So even if you're in first place at the end of this heat, you may be under some heat because there's 4 more pilots coming to take your numbers. And a beautiful shot over the lake here.
I'd love to get the onboard perspective. I'm hoping to get the onboard perspective here with this landing for Pete and the Kit Fox, because I'd love to see just what you're seeing as a pilot coming in for this approach. It's absolutely telling. But is Pete on? No, Pete's not on VR, is he? Or is he?
I don't know if he's on VR. It doesn't look like he has head tracking or VR.
Yeah,
right now.
That's weird. You'd think he's had to be moving around if he was at least using like a hat switch, at least minimum. But
yeah,
no rock-steady view here. It's a good viewpoint for kind of a landing attitude, but
I can't fly without at least, the Toby head tracker. But if I were not to have that, I would definitely be using a hat switch. So if he's able to do the scores he's able to do without even moving his head, this guy's got skill that is on another level.
It's doable if you practice anything enough, but it would obviously help to have the movement, or it may actually hinder when you start to get down to the kind of. And I'm going to separate us from the real world of aviation here, but that might's definitely looking like it could be a scratch. I'm not sure. But once you separate from the real world aviation, I noticed this with motor racing eSports, where I first kind of started doing commentary. The top pro drivers were turning off force feedback. Now everyone in racing games uses force feedback, right? Not so common in flight sim, but they use it there. The pros were turning it off. The pros were turning down their steering ratios. They were making their sims unrealistic to make, or their controls unrealistic to make their driving better. So it could well be that some of the top guys doing this are making their own setup less like we'd actually do it in a real plane, and that's extremely insane. What the hell? But yeah, they may just be working with the game mechanic of it.
Can we get a wind report? we need a wind report.
Nuts.
What do we got?
Yeah.
70-mile-an-hour gust?
As
you are not a
20
Robert
minutes
Sedar 22.
ago, we are 16 gusting 21.
Okay, we had a gust. That must have been a gust, but Luke got lucky there, or he's very skilled and got lucky because that was short. And Angel, that's a great point, because even in like Call of Duty eSports, they don't even use vibration on the controllers or anything. That little minute of a thing can be a bother to someone who's trying to fine tune their motor skills within the simulation type or video gaming esport world.
It really is. Yeah, no, don't get me started on the idiots that turn their monitor ratios down to 4:3 to kind of make people's heads bigger on the screen.
Yes,
That's
I just saw a video about that. That is crazy. I saw how like the characters are like way wider and stuff. It's like, wow, man, it's people are doing that to me when I'm playing on that game.
I've literally been doing that. I have straight up in Rainbow Six Siege beaten players who have been doing the 4:3 routine. It's a crutch. It's not actually helpful, but they're still trying. What a landing that we just saw. That was insanity in the Lynn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
What was the official ruling on that, Cam? Did you see?
Let's see.
6 feet.
Wow.
20.
Wasn't it?
So Pete C was 6 feet on his landing. Norcali's out. Luke Carrier was 3 feet. on his landing. Actually made it again, and then
We're on board with Pete for the
Joseph
takeoff
was
here,
21.
and we're off like a rocket.
That feels like Ryanair.
Shout outs to Ryanair.
I'm not even from
Yeah.
the UK, and I catch the reference. I know like the UK kind of gives a lot of crap to Ryanair about their kind of bumpy rides.
Okay, to translate this international, we can go WestJet or we can go JetBlue if you want to have another kind of the low-cost carrier who's desperate to get in the sky, back on the ground as quickly as possible, and does not care about your feelings. Yes. Same thing.
Straight
Maybe
up and straight down.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess rest in peace, Spirit.
Yes.
Oh no, Spirit's
In
no longer.
Southwest-
They get rid of
Yeah,
Spirit.
no, I'm thinking anymore.
Wow. And I said
they
I
are
would never
bankrupt.
fly Spirit again the last time I flew Spirit, which was only one time ever. And I'm right, I'll never fly it again because it's no longer. I don't know if anybody's going to miss Spirit, though. I mean, in my opinion, they were just as expensive as any other carrier if you brought a bag.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's what these guys make their money on.
So Sagelin in the YouTube chat is asking, what's the update or scoreboard? So scoreboard right now, Luke C in first place with a total of 13. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. 10-foot takeoff and a 3-foot landing, and then Pete C with a score of 21 with a 15-foot takeoff and a 6-foot landing. So I mean, like these numbers are ridiculous.
That's wild. And how many feet does it take to land a 737?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. Let's
Much more than that.
I did take one bush
It's-
flying. You can do it in under 2,000 feet.
I've got Angel, remind me after this. I've got a short to share with you of something that I did in an airliner
Definitely.
in the simulator. Obviously, it's not in real life, but
course.
yeah, I landed one on the side of a mountain and did a 180 turn on the mountain and then flew off the mountain. It's flight simulator
Nice.
though, so we can do that.
Good.
But that's
Okay.
that's the fun of like the Av Angel channel though. You know you get stuff like that, the fun side of aviation, the serious side of aviation. You know, but I love that kind of stuff. Landing a 737 in a bush, flying 2,000 feet. That's really great.
Oh,
Not
I
many
took the
people can do
310
that.
into a 1,800-foot dirt strip. That was terrifying. And it kept trying to stop me from doing it because of its stupid auto throttle system that I had to keep slapping to make it behave itself because it kept turning on and trying to get me to go around.
I'm not going around. And a scratch
Nope,
from
not this
Pete C. Trying
Ooh, that'll be
a
too
little
short.
too hard there.
Okay, so to answer your question, we'll go with the latest model, 7.4, which is the 747-8, and it has been recorded landing with as little as 4,200 feet of runway. So,
In the
I
four
mean,
or
that's an
three?
extreme.
I think you said
In
4.
the 8.
747.
Oh, and
337.
747-3. I'm sorry, 747-8. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah,
Were we
so
talking about
I think we were
7.3s?
we were asking about the 737, which there will be
Yeah.
quite a difference in landing there, quite a big difference in the plane.
Significant,
But
yeah.
if you could pull those numbers up, Cam, for the 737,
Yeah.
while Luke Carrier
Which
flies
model
his
you wanna go
helicopter
with?
plane. Wow.
Jeez.
So he gives up a couple feet on landing, but doesn't give up any feet on the roll, as it seems. And that's going to be one of the short ones for the book.
We have only got a couple of people on the board here right now because we've had some strikes on those landings. So some people actually haven't. Well, no, I'm not sure why some people haven't got a score yet. We only have 2
Well,
listed on there.
If they
Yeah, we should
if
have
they have
scores from Joseph.
prop struck, then they are going to be out for the round. So if it's in
Yeah,
the
so
beginning
that
of
goes
the
off.
round, then yeah, they're going to be out for the rest of the round. So that's partially why we're not seeing some of the scores here, because some people are disqualified because
I
if
think,
you strike the prop, you can't really compete for the rest of the round.
There's 3 up there though.
But I think Joseph is good though. He should
Yeah, he's
be
good, and he's not on.
33.
Yeah, we might need to. Yeah, we're gonna have it checked
perfect.
into, and we'll get Joseph's scores on the board here.
He's in third place currently with a score of 33.
Yeah. So we do have a slight technical issue with our line judge. His computer has crashed, so therefore he cannot be in the simulator to judge the landing. So Joseph Sherry's just going to get a little extra flying time. I mean, you know, who wouldn't love a little extra flying time?
I hope he's got fuel
Yes,
for it, because
that's really interesting that you mentioned that. Okay, so here's something pretty cool, that a little inside info about how we do eSTOL. So our ground boss or air boss has actually got all the fuels and stuff figured out to have extra fuel for stuff like this. So when the pilots clock in for the competitions, they actually have to set their fuel like they would in real life and make sure that they have extra fuel. So to answer the question, yes, they do have extra fuel, and it has been planned out that way meticulously by our air boss.
$3,500 feet for the 737-800 on landing.
Not bad.
Yeah.
They need to try harder though.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, definitely. I feel like they could land it shorter than that.
You
I don't know if
abuse
that's
it a bit
just
more in the sim.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if that's just the sim talking in us or what, but I feel like, you know, that's those are rookie numbers.
To be fair, I was on gravel and I applied full reverses, full brakes, and full everything, and I didn't care about the cost. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There you
You
go.
can land shorter if you abuse the aeroplane, but they want to use it again, so.
Yeah, so they want to use it for the next 25 years.
Oh yeah, the old adage, you can land once.
Look at the control coming from Joseph Sherry. Able to
That's
just
disgusting.
hold that off the ground by just mere inches.
Wow.
It just stops.
So is that 20 feet? 22 feet?
That is about 24 feet or so. So great stopping distance, but gave up a little bit. And that's, you know, I find that's one of the difficulties about that low, that low level approach is it's really hard to judge the landing, because if you're coming in from, if you're dropping it in, such as Av Angel was talking about earlier, which is her preferred method in most cases for, you know, bush flying or STOL flying, you can really see the line because you're up higher in the air, and so you can drop it in kind of more pinpoint accuracy with the line. But when you're flying level like that and you're just holding the plane off the ground with the power in the prop, it can be very hard to see the line because you're so low to the ground and you're level with the ground for so long. Now, I'm not saying that it can't be done.
No, I think
Yeah,
it's just
definitely.
preference. I think it's what you're comfortable with that's going to make a difference there. Also, the plane type. Some planes can drag it in a little easier at that low level. Some don't want to. So you've got to really kind of balance the aircraft and your technique.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it depends on the plane, depends on the power of the plane, and so those things all do come into factor of how they're going to. But yeah, I think I'm with Av Angel on that preferred method of, I like to drop it in. I feel like it's, in my opinion, it's more controlled. Even in a plane that has a lot of power, I will still like to drop it in because I feel like I can just nail that line or just pass that line a little more perfectly. But, you know, what am I to say? I don't compete in these events. These guys are the pros, so we'll leave that up to them. But, you know, we still do like to fly in the bush, so I'll tell you what. I love to fly in the bush in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I need to go on a bush flight soon.
And try not to laugh, man. We all love flying in the bush.
That's right. It's the best place to fly.
That livery is always going to just be the tops as far as craziness, but like refined craziness.
Yeah, it's got kind of it's a little too much yellow for a Jamaican vibe, but it does in the stripes there. It's kind of got a little Jamaican vibe to it.
Man,
That is giving me British ambulance.
Oh, really?
Is what it's giving me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sarah is
That's how
from
ambulances look. Yeah. Wigan,
Sarah
England.
is
Yeah.
from
So
England.
and and the striping. Yeah, that's an ambulance. That's definitely an ambulance. The red and white striping on the tail is the back of our ambulances, coupled with the green and yellow Battenberg
Ah,
and the yellow colour. That is
wondered.
unfortunately one of our NHS ambulances. The Jamaican stripes on top. Not sure what that signifies, but the rest of it. And yeah, that's definitely an ambulance.
Okay.
Although the 111
That's
strikes
awesome.
me as the emergency or non-emergency helpline, so possible career detection there. I don't
Okay.
know.
There we go.
That's what I was gonna say. I wonder if she is a paramedic.
Well, no, it's actually 111 is our emergency helpline or emergency, non-emergency kind of NHS phone line. So could be an actual call taker there, which would be still an incredibly awesome job that people do for this country and help people out. What's it say
Yeah,
on
that's a
there?
wild job.
Fly high
you know,
or
to
die.
see
So
it.
yeah, there's definitely some. Yeah, this is there's some inferences there.
Terrible guitarist from the Twitch chat says, "Go Sazzle." I think he likes that livery too.
Yep.
And we have the wild cat blue flame.
Yeah.
And that livery, I'm telling you, the SWS, they're some of my favorite textured
like a pink
planes in the
banana.
simulator. They just look so realistic. And I love the little British flag on the wingtips. That's something
Yeah.
new she's added to the livery. It wasn't there, I don't know, 2 competitions ago as far as I remember. But I love that little tidbit that she added in there. And to note, she did this livery all on her own.
Mm.
And she's got her trophies there, the gold, the silver, the bronze. She's flapping the flaps, she's rudding the rudders, making sure everything works. Oh yeah, by the way, Kat is another sponsored flyer of ours by CRZ Studios and Got Friends. And one of the interesting planes coming to Flight Sim is the CRZ Studios Chinook. So they're making Dan Reynolds Chinook and also another kind of more mild variant of the Chinook, one of the kind of a stock variant of the Chinook. So I'm really waiting to see that thing come out. And they're not, you know, they're a 2-man team, so they're not going to be, you know, speed demoning through that plane and, you know, popping it out tomorrow. But it should be sometime within the middle of 2025 from what I've heard from the developers. And so that'd be interesting for next year's competition because we'll have, you know, Dan Reynolds Chinook in the mix. And the plane is actually being developed with pictures that I took partially with permission from Dan. So we thank Dan for letting us take some scans or some pictures of his plane to provide the developers of that plane some better information to create the plane more accurate. So Taco Delight, Wes Campbell, with the Making Me Hungry plane, the Taco Delight. I did Google that last time and found out it is a real place, but it's in Texas, and I don't have the gas money to go down there and get some tacos right now, or I would.
Yeah, Got
I'm just
Friends
glad I
is
actually
working
managed to
on.
get Mexican food. No, go on.
Oh no, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm just glad I at least managed to get Mexican food one time when I was in the States in September. That made the whole trip. I was like, I gotta eat something. I'm in Arizona. I gotta eat Mexican food at some point. Finally,
Oh,
at the
yeah.
airport
Oh,
on the last
yeah.
day. Doesn't really count, but it still counts.
You know, something interesting from Arizona as far as food goes, and I don't want to make everybody hungry, so we won't talk about food too long, but they have a really interesting dish there. Well, it's just kind of a handheld, it's called a Sonoran dog. And it's basically like a Hawaiian hot dog with like, you know, peppers and they're so good.
Interesting. Got the German plane here.
The Brondo
The Brondo plane.
with the Morley
The thirst
cigarettes.
simulator.
That's quite a tagline.
Very nice looking livery. I like it. It's a little sporty. It's a little spicy. It's a race livery, and that's what you see here in the unlimited class. Everybody in the unlimited class is all gung ho about making their planes as best as they can make them.
Yeah.
Or the best
Throwing
that
in
they can make them, rather.
Some shout outs to some pop culture shout outs with that aircraft with the
Speaking of pop culture, look at those two
Idiocracy.
guys.
Yeah,
got the
that's
old-
you and Ryan, isn't it?
Yeah, you got Bursix TV, and that's me, and then you got Ryan Dombrowski in there, looking good, brought into the sim by Anov.
Yeah, I need to talk to Ryan. He called me the other day. I need to return his call. Got big plans coming up for the IRL version of National STOL.
Ooh, don't give anything away that you're not supposed to, but you know, please do tell if you can.
Oh, we are basically just figuring out what we're going to do with the broadcast. You know, make it better. Not that it was bad to begin with, but just
Well, no,
make
but
it
you
more
got to be
entertaining.
improving always, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, always improving. So, yeah, we're going to throw some ideas at each other and see what sticks.
Yeah, I'll say I went to one of the National STOL events in real life, and it still, I mean, I'm been here for 33 years, and that was probably one of the most interesting and one of the best times I've ever had doing anything. So it's definitely something I'll remember for the rest of my life, and I want to get to more. And if you ever have a chance, you guys watching, if you ever have a chance to go out to a National STOL event, go out and volunteer, go out and watch. Go out and meet some of the pilots. It's so awesome. It's just the coolest thing ever. Maybe I'm crazy because I've never been to an air show before, but I'll tell you what, that was a heck of an air show for the first one I've ever been to. I had a great time. Sarah Eggleton off to a great start in the Kip Fox. The ladies first in this heat, because just after Sarah comes Cat Blue Flame, both flying out of England. Veritas4156 says, why don't we have Cam in the sceneries? Cam, I'll let you explain why we don't have Cam in the sceneries.
Just trying to put me on blast like that.
Yeah.
I hadn't submitted any photos yet. That's all on me. That's no one's
Yeah,
fault.
so he needs to get his photos over to Anov. No, I didn't even know that when I asked you last time, and when you mentioned that, I was like, man, at least he's honest. At least he tells me why,
Wow.
He didn't blame it on Anov.
Oh, absolutely not. Veritas is going to be Frankie, isn't it?
Yes,
Did
Veritas
we figure
is
that out at the
Frankie.
last?
We miss you, Frankie. Hope you're doing well, brother. We love you. We miss you.
Yeah.
And the Taco Delight, or like Rocket Delight, flying up into the sky in no time at all. And this
what
right
we got
here,
here?
this is one of my favorite planes, the Savage Gravel. I love it. The nitrous, the big wheels, the Mustang V6 engine.
I've got to say I'm not a fan
Masterpiece.
myself, but that's personal.
No, yeah, hey, this plane, I tell you what, a lot of people like the Carbon over this. A lot of people will fly the Carbon over this plane. And for me, this plane was one of the planes that I had the most fun in, starting in the flight simulator. I got a lot of great times in this plane, so nothing will probably ever beat this plane for me as far as bush
I'm
planes
gonna be
go.
weird. I'm gonna say the Aviat Husky.
Hey,
I prefer the Husky over the Cub styles.
I think the Husky's a really cool plane.
Frankie put me on blast again.
Yeah, you can call it out.
It wouldn't be Frankie if he didn't. And a couple of planes coming in here. We've got Sarah. We Fly Daily says Gravel is better than the Savage. Wait, the Savage Gravel or the Savage Carbon? Because they're both Savages.
Yeah.
We Fly, I need NOS to Bush.
Ooh,
Nice landing from Sarah Eggleton.
sub 20, I think.
You can hear the wind just whipping in the background, too.
Yeah, it's gotta be wild out there. But let's see. I don't have live updates, but as of about
Uh,
30 minutes ago, we've got 16 down the runway.
Cat Blue Flame
No
plopping
less.
it in like she puts the cat food in the shoes. And if you don't
Wait,
remember,
cat food in shoes?
yeah, it's we don't really understand it either. It's just one of the things that Kat said at one of the events, and I don't think anybody really knows what it means, but it's just always in our hearts forever. The cat food in the shoes. We talk about the cat food in the shoes, and we don't even really know what it means, but we love it.
Yeah, that was
enough.
at FS Expo when we were all
Yeah,
talking
when we
about how competitive she was going to be, and she said that she was going to put cat food in people's shoes.
like, what would that do?
Wow.
Taco Delight making a delightful landing with them nice
Well,
Airstreak tires.
we were trying to figure out if it was wet or dry food, and we never did figure it out. Because if it's dry food, it just sucks. It's okay, but if it's wet food, it's gonna be horrible.
Well, you know what they say, a real cat never gives away her secrets. I don't know if anybody
Wow,
says that.
I don't think anyone's ever said that. No.
No, not until now. You know who I miss? I miss Midnight Rain, one of the pilots that used to fly with us. She would always quote my kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, dumb sayings, and she would quote me for the year. I wonder how Midnight Rain's doing. We got to catch up with her. Nice landing from the Savage Gravel. One of the things about the Savage Gravel is when you're flying this plane, you have to remember to turn the nitrous off. If you don't turn the nitrous off, you're never going to get a good landing. It seems as if he did turn the nitrous off. I will say, though, this plane is a little bit more difficult to land than some of the other ones like the Kit Fox or the CH-701.
Yeah.
The Gravel can be very, very hard to land whether you turn the nitrous off or not. And I think part of that lies within the fact that it's a little heavier. And Sarah coming in for her last round. The third time, maybe the charm for Sarah. Oh, actually, this is only the second round, by the way. So we still have some unlimited action left. Tails up. Tires are off the ground. And a great takeoff from Sarah. Interesting takeoff, though, in my opinion. If I'm flying this Kit Fox, I am taking off 3-point, nose to the sky. But interesting takeoff nonetheless. Cat Blue Flame pulling up. And you can hear that CH-701 spooling up and ready to pop off the ground. Almost smacking the tail on the ground. And you'll see that in real life. Justin Tisdale flies a CH-750 or a Zenith 750. And you notice in some of his YouTube videos he has a weight on the back of the tail. And so, he uses that to, get the nose up, etc. But you'll notice sometimes that weight actually touches the ground a little bit, and he's really going for it when he takes off like that. So, and sometimes you'll see that with Kat as well, where she'll hit the ground a little bit. But I think the wind is heavy enough right now where she didn't need to bounce the tail at all. And a little bit of a wing rock from Wes Campbell and the Taco Delight, as he knows that takeoff was good, maybe good enough to be one of the best. Now, guys, we want to say that we're not done just yet. We still have a few more rounds left, but we do want to say thanks for tuning in to eSTOL for our very first season. And it's rounding out to quite a great season. We still don't know who is going to take home the winning prize points for the season points. And, we may have an idea in some of the classes, but at the end of the day, we don't know until the unlimited class is over. But we do want to say thanks to all the sponsors and everybody who came out and hung out with us and showed love and support for eSTOL. It's been a great time, and I can't wait to get back to it next year. And we're going to have some new planes next year. And we did have one of our flyers, Cedric, his PC crashed to the desktop, and he's unable to get back in quickly, so he's going to be out for the time being. He may be able to finish the rest of his rounds, depending on how long it takes him to get back into Microsoft Flight Simulator and back into his plane. You can see just how gusty it is. The wings are just rocking a little bit. She's got to get some power in there, and she did. And she does. That's a great landing. Barely any roll on that landing.
Yeah, we've noticed that with the Kit Foxes so far today, especially in the Unlimited class, they've been really, really good on that. The brake's strong. CG is quite far aft as well, and the Kit Fox mean you can really get on those brakes quite hard.
Yeah. We do have a go around. Cat Blue Flame decided to go around just a little too close for comfort for her, so she's taking the safe route and chooses to go around, which is perfectly acceptable and what we like to see pilots do in those situations. And you see a big flare and very short stop. Did give up maybe 14, 15 feet. Maybe 12 feet or so, giving up on the landing. But you know, that's one of the things that they've you know, practiced all year for, is to hit just after that line, and it's way harder than it looks. You know, you get in the plane and you try to start landing on that line, and you know, because a lot of times you think, well, you know, we're bush flying, we're landing on these you know, short strips and everything like that. But when you put the line in as a factor, that changes the whole game. And that's why these pilots are some of the best in the world in the flight simulator, where they are so controlled and so just on point with the landings. Cat giving up a little bit, but not giving up too much. Another great landing from Cat. I don't know if it'll... Yeah, I don't know if it'll beat her best, but yeah, a little hop and a skip. I don't know if it'll beat her best.
Race control telling us this is the last lap of the season coming up.
The very last lap of the season. It's bittersweet, but we'll be back with more eSTOL action, with more new planes, more pilots, and everything else that comes along with the eSTOL. I hope you guys have had a good time watching eSTOL this year, and we still have one more lap. So everybody in the chat, hype it up, put your hands together for the last lap of eSTOL, and we'll have the results of the season standings out hopefully shortly. But we do need to give the guys a little bit of time to get everything. But make sure you guys join in the Discord to find out who is going to be the winner for the seasons in all the different classes. And anybody can join the Discord. It's welcome to everybody. As long as you're a fan of National STOL or National eSTOL, please welcome to join us, nationalstol.com/chat. And that way you can get in on all the information on the off season, who's doing what, who's flying what. There will be some plane changes for next year, I'm sure. I already know some of the gripes from some of the pilots about planes that maybe they chose the wrong plane in the beginning of the year, etc. So a lot of good information, juicy information will be going on in the Discord. So don't forget to join and become part of the conversation. Sarah Eggleton lines up.
We got Cedric back as well.
Okay, yeah. So Cam mentioned Cedric's back. He had a PC crash, but he was able to get back up and running. And wow, look at that. Sarah Eggleton just taking off straight up into the sky. She knows the power that plane has. And she just showed us right there with a nearly vertical takeoff. You know, that's where you'll see the difference between the Kit Fox. It's got a lot more power. And although this plane sometimes can take off and land shorter, Kat really is, you know, very controlled when she's taking off in this plane because, you know, she's really gotta maneuver the controls when she's taking off in that short of a distance with the CH-701 because it doesn't have a ton of power to keep it off, to keep it in ground effect, you know, and to get it into the air flying. So she's really got to maneuver to make sure that the wings aren't going to stall on that plane.
So I'm watching. Oh dear, that's a whoopsie DQ.
Somebody left the parking brake on.
We don't do that. Is what we don't do.
A little too much hot sauce on the tacos.
Yeah, whilst he gets that sorted out, I will just say, I've not been noticing too many of them actually popping flaps for their takeoffs. I know they do it in the real eSTOL, National Stall series, but the pop flap takeoff, I'm seeing people flaps already set for takeoff in the eSTOL version, which is quite a difference, especially seeing as it does make a difference in the sim.
Yeah, I think like you'll see Steve Henry taking off with his flaps already set. You know, I think the planes that have more power, the planes that have, you know, an overall amount of power, like something like the Kit Fox or something like the Carbon, but most people should be, you know, keeping their flaps up and then popping the flaps, you know, when they're about ready to hop into ground effect. So I'm not sure why they're doing it like that. Must know something we don't know, or maybe they don't know.
So it does make a difference. Good on board view here. There's a drone camera behind Sarah Eggleton coming off the line, watching this long dragged in approach. Those flaps are already set, ready for this aircraft to keep itself nose high. Kind of a bit of a flare up over this taxiway first as they come down, dropping down here to almost kind of go into that late. Ooh, that's a long one. Not gonna be a good run.
Oh no!
Yeah, shooting her best is a 10.
Oh
no! Ooh. I think she knows it's too long. I don't think she cares that it was a longer run. Considering she's got a 10, I don't think she's beating that.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, I guess it didn't matter. That her takeoff was 34 on that with the 10 landing. So yeah, the last takeoff was 53.
Now Kat is really, you see the rudders moving, you see the rudder moving, you see the ailerons moving. She's very, very focused.
Yeah, that's got to be sub 10.
Yep.
Well, her best is 5, so she's definitely working within small margins here. Yep.
Yeah.
Was it a 5?
Yeah, it's going to stay 5.
Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome. 17 all around.
Incredible.
That's wild.
Well, I'm glad to see her finish out the round, because I know Kat's had a kind of a rough go of it the last couple competitions where she has disqualified, and you know, she's really brought back the Kat spirit, if you will. Because at the beginning of this season, she was just kicking butt and taking names, and you know, then she faltered throughout the middle of the season. But you'll see that. I mean, you know, people got things going on in real life, etc., and you know, they might not have enough time to practice in the sim. But you know, even though this is a simulator, this stuff is not easy. You know, it's these guys practice week in and week out, and you'll see the best flyers. You know, you'll see them in the Discord practicing weekly, daily. And you know, that goes to show for some of the people that are winning these events and regularly. And you know, Kat, glad to see her back doing really good again.
Well, like I said with Kat, you know, she's a bit of a Ricky Bobby in that regard of if you ain't first, you're last, right?
Yes, definitely.
I watch a lot of mountain biking. It's one of my big passions. And you say down to women's champion Valley Hole, she's the same way. She either wrecks it or comes first by a mile. Like there's two settings. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
it.
a
Full
You've
personality.
win it or you've taken it, and it's just some people are built that way. They can only go 110%. They have no off switch, so
Yep.
it happens. You're gonna break it up more than you actually use it, but it could be worth it in the end.
And those are some of the greatest people. I mean, those kind of people, they get so much done in life because they have that attitude. You know, they just go for it all the time, and so that's why we, you know, love our people like that we have, you know, lucky enough to have in our competition here, Cat Blue Flame, and yeah, she's definitely one, exactly as you said. You ain't first, you're last. So there is a tie. Fourth and fifth place did score exactly the same. So there's a tie between Joseph Sherry and Wes Campbell. But in first place, we have Luke Carrier for the Lonestar eSTOL presented by FS Expo Unlimited class. In second place, we have Cat Blue Flame, 17 feet, only separated by 4 feet from the first place, Luke Carrier. Pete C in third place, separated again by 4 feet with a 21-foot best run. Joseph Sherry and Wes Campbell tied for 33. And then Cedric P coming in sixth place with 37 feet for Cedric, and Sarah Eggleton 44 feet. Still wild to see that seventh place is landing a plane and taking it off in 44 feet. That's insane. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching with us. National eSTOL, our first season, is in the books. Make sure to stay tuned for the season standings and join the Discord at nationalstol.com/chat. Everybody is welcome to join there. You'll get the season standings, get all the juicy info about what planes everybody's flying next year, etc. And Ab Angel, great to have you. Thank you so much for coming on with us, and we love your YouTube channel. Everybody needs to go check it out. One of the best in the business.
Well, thank you for having me, of course, and thank you to everyone from eSTOL and all of you guys in the booth tonight, to you Burstix, you can. I love being here. It's fantastic. Great racing today. Great competition by all the guys, and I absolutely will be tuning in next season. I hope you will too.
Yeah, and Cam, thanks for the last 6 episodes that we've done, man. It's been a great time casting with you. Let's do it again next year.
Can't wait.
Everybody, we love you guys. Thank you for being a part of National eSTOL. We'll see you soon. Later.